This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey you guys, welcome into the Wisconsin Live Desk and a happy, let me give it a little bit of headroom, that might be a little bit nice. Whoop, we went crazy. Happy Tuesday though. I'm trying to think, 39 degrees. It's kind of a gross Tuesday out in Milwaukee. Should we take a live look? Yeah, not so pretty. This is Mitchell International Airport, but you can barely see that through all of the fog and just the doom and the gloom. It is a wet one out there, so if you need to hit the roads, please take it slow. I know days like this, traffic can be a little congested. That's just because the roads are slick and you really do want to take your time. The good news is that if you have to fly out of Mitchell International Airport, I was talking to our weather expert, Stephanie, and she told me that she did not expect any delays here in Milwaukee, which is always really nice to hear. And as much as I want to complain about this kind of doom and gloom on a Tuesday, we could have this. So that puts everything very quickly into perspective. Oshkosh, look at that snow coming down. And you can even see it starting to stick. You can see the ground there. We've got a lot of white. Actually, it's kind of a lot of snow coming down right now. So I'm glad that we're in the upper 30s and not any colder, because then the doom and gloom could be actually producing quite a bit of snow. So I'll take just the cloudy and the raininess on this kind of Monday-like Tuesday, but it is Tuesday, so that's good. We are one day closer to the weekend, which is always nice to hear. Hey, we've got a lot coming up for you today on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Got a couple live interviews planned. We've got several reporters working on their stories for us, but I do just want to take a quick kind of roundup of what we have on the feeds right now. Starting with a live look at the White House. President Trump right now is actually meeting with the Crown Prince, the Saudi Crown Prince. They've already kind of talked in front of media before the Wisconsin Live Desk did begin, but kind of the two big announcements, news items coming out of that meeting with media was one, the Saudi Crown Prince has upped his plan for U.S. investments to $1 trillion. And we also saw Trump kind of dismiss some criticism of the Crown Prince over the 2018 killing of a journalist. So those are kind of the two big headlines coming out of their meeting in front of members of the media. The two of them are still there at the White House, so we will monitor the feeds. I believe his departure is scheduled at some point in the next couple of hours, so of course we'll try to bring that to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk when it happens. Another thing we're watching, this is the U.S. House floor. We're seeing different representatives go up to the podium and talk, but a vote is expected on the Jeffrey Epstein files today. This would be on a bipartisan bill to release those files. There has been a long call for months, if not years now, to release these Jeffrey Epstein files. And just recently, as of last night, Trump has kind of changed his tone. Before, he didn't want them released. Now he says if the House and the Senate pass this bipartisan bill, he will sign it. Therefore, those files will be released. Obviously, Jeffrey Epstein, accused of a lot of sex crimes before he took his life in prison. His ex, Ghislaine Maxwell, is currently serving time for her part in those. Earlier this year, actually maybe last month, a couple of weeks ago, we saw the Supreme Court vote to say they would not take up an appeal when it comes to her case. So that's what's going on right there on the House floor. Another item happening on the feeds right now, that would be Governor Abbott of Texas. He is currently participating in what they are calling a fireside chat. But we did actually have some big breaking news coming out of Texas that I did want to just draw your attention to. And this was just in, as of 7 minutes ago, that a federal judge has now blocked Texas from using those redrawn congressional maps that would boost the GOP in the 2026 midterm elections. I believe back in August is when we really saw Texas push for these redrawn congressional maps. Actually, several Democrats left their state to kind of avoid that vote. Eventually, they were told they needed to return. When they returned, Republicans passed this new congressional map that helped them pick up 6 seats. That would help them come next midterm election, as right now Republicans have the House and the Senate, and Trump wants it to stay that way. So he called on these GOP states to really kind of change the maps if they're able to make sure they maintain that majority. It's also what caused California to recently vote on Prop 51, which was their kind of answer to Texas, saying if you're going to change blue seats to red, we're going to change red seats to blue. Prop 51 did pass when they had their election just a couple weeks ago in California. So very interesting kind of bit of news there. And now Texas, as of right now, with this new ruling, will not be able to use those redrawn congressional maps that would have boosted, again, the GOP come the 2026 midterm elections. I want to go back to the House floor. I'm not sure if they'll be talking about the Jeffrey Epstein kind of bipartisan bill to release those files, but let's just listen in together for a few minutes and see what they're talking about right now as we await that vote, which should come today.
I will be doing so today. The victims deserve the truth. They deserve justice, and they deserve closure. For months, they've had to wake up every day and see the name of their tormentor on the front page of every newspaper, on every TV channel, as has the broader American public. This issue has been so politicized by so many people in so many ways, which is deeply unfortunate when we're talking about matters of the highest sensitivity and untold suffering. It is my hope that the passage of this resolution today, together with the work of the Oversight Committee, will lead to the expeditious release of all pertinent material so that we can move on. Let's get accountability, let's get answers, and let's get this over with. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman reserves.
Yeah, we reserve.
All right, if you're just joining us, we decided to dip in there to the House floor as representatives are talking, and they are speaking about this bipartisan bill relating to releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files, which the representative we just heard from in support, saying he will vote for this bill to pass it. Again, what we've heard is that if it passes the House, if it passes the Senate, it makes its way to President Trump's desk. He has said, and this is a reversal as of last night, that he will sign that bill releasing the files. So let's continue to listen in here. The vote is expected to come at some point today, so let's hear the latest from these representatives.
Michelle Licata, Ashley Rubright, Annie Farmer, Marina Lacerda, Rachel Benavides. These women have carried a burden that they never should have had to bear. And today, they demand, we demand, the American people demand that we answer their clarion call to justice. Today, despite all the giant cover-up attempts by this administration and this Speaker of the House, we will vote to release all the Epstein files. To be clear, there is no protection for pedophiles, no protection for the rich and powerful men of either party who participated, who turned a blind eye, who winked and grinned while witnessing the horrific abuses of young children. Release all the damn files now.
We reserve. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield a minute and a half to the distinguished gentleman from North Carolina and member of our committee.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have been very supportive of this effort, specifically to bring justice to the victims of this horrific series of crimes. However, I have worked behind the scenes to raise concerns with this petition as it is currently drafted. Specifically, I believe that there is grave risk at harming innocent people. And I repeat, harming innocent people. When innocent people are harmed, that is not furthering justice. With an investigation of this size and a file that is as large as the Epstein files and as poorly defined as that is in this petition, there will invariably be people who are released pursuant to this discharge petition who had nothing to do with criminal activity. Imagine, if you will, a bellman, a waiter, some type of doorman, a mere social attendee who had no impact whatsoever on the criminal activities of Jeffrey Epstein, no participation. Their lives are forever ruined. And I'm reading specifically from the petition's language that prohibited grounds for withholding information in this file are embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. And I would just submit, if you were going to be embarrassed, if you were going to suffer social harm, and that is all of the encompassed activity that you were a part of, you will be named in this petition. And I resent that. Innocent people should not be harmed when we are pursuing justice. I understand the political nature of this petition. I resent the fact that there was not room for good faith amendments, and I urge the Senate to protect innocent people. I yield back.
Yields back. The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Thank you. I'm yielding 1 minute to the distinguished gentlelady from California, Representative Kamlager-Dove.
The gentlelady from California is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, 1 in 3 women and girls around the world are physically and sexually assaulted each year. Of the 152 women in this body, that means 51 women. It includes your daughters, your sisters, your nieces, your mothers. And with the Epstein files, we have a chance to change that. But real talk, the administration doesn't need a discharge petition. It has not complied with the subpoena, and it has the power to release the files today. Instead, the man in the most powerful position in the world has used the full weight of the government to block and obfuscate and deflect the full release of the files. It is the same person who intimidated female members of Congress to withdraw names from the petition, who responded quiet piggy to a female reporter who asked about the files, and who nominated an alleged sexual predator to be our AG. It is the same person whose name appears more than any other in the Epstein emails. And in the pantheon of violence, a sexual predator is the worst of the worst, so why protect him? It's also curious that the judiciary is managing this debate and has not even had this come before the committee. I wonder why. Release the files now!
We reserve.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Roy, chairman of the Constitution Subcommittee.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
I thank the chairman. Today, a united Republican Party and a bipartisan supermajority is going to pass a bill to increase transparency regarding the egregious abuses by Jeffrey Epstein, a goal that anyone of conscience desires. That is, in totality, an important statement to check the rich and the powerful. Remember how we got here. After decades, it was President Trump's Department of Justice that indicted Jeffrey Epstein in July of 2019. It was President Trump's DOJ that arrested and indicted Ms. Maxwell. It was the Republican-led Oversight Committee, through 13 subpoenas, that has released 65,000 pages of files in just 10 months. Meanwhile, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have largely ignored this issue. It was Democrats who redacted an email to mislead the American people about the truth of a witness that exonerated President Trump. It was a Democrat, Representative Placette, who literally texted with Jeffrey Epstein as we questioned Michael Cohen. It was Democrats who shut down the government, resulting in the delay of swearing in of members. As we vote to pass this legislation, and it will pass, it is impossible, however, to avoid problems with its politicization. One colleague has offensively gone so far as to say that to oppose this bill means you support pedophiles. Yet I know good public servants, former law enforcement, former prosecutors who never knew Epstein, never knew any visitors to his criminal enterprise, who have genuine concerns about supporting this bill out of fear of creating new victims or harming existing victims, or both. That is what we've reduced Congress to, inserting itself into the prosecutorial process for political motivations driven heavily by hatred of President Trump. We should be concerned about victim privacy, concerned about risking disclosure of non-credible allegations, of child sexual abuse materials, future investigations. But here's the deal. The leaders of this nation must expose abuses by the rich and the powerful. That is why President Trump and the House have been working for full transparency. But we should be motivated by truth and justice for all, not politics. I yield back.
The gentleman.
All right, if you are just joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we have been listening in live to the floor of the U.S. House as representatives are talking about a bipartisan bill that they will vote on later today, which would release all of the Epstein files in its entirety. As we've listened the last few minutes, it's a little bit of the blame game, right? What we saw kind of with the government shutdown, Democrats blaming Republicans, Republicans blaming Democrats. However, one thing across the board is that bipartisan support to now release those files. Again, they will vote on this in just a little bit. It is expected to pass. We've already been hearing from Democrats now urging, once this passes, for the Senate to take it up so they can also vote to release those files. And again, just last night, President Trump changing his tone on this subject, saying now if this bill makes its way to his desk, meaning it passes the House, it passes the Senate, he will now sign it. He will also allow those files to be released. It's a long issue that we have seen brought up many, many times in Congress over these last few months, and we've been able to hear from many of the Epstein abuse survivors as they shared their stories. So a lot of people have wanted access to these files, and it seems like there is a chance we could be getting them very soon. Again, they are expected to vote on that bipartisan bill at some point today. We will absolutely keep our eye on that and bring it to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk if and when they do that. We do have a full lineup of things coming up, though, here on Wild on the Wisconsin Live Desk. So we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, we're talking banana ball. We might have a special guest, so you're going to want to stay tuned. All right, we'll be right back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Tuesday afternoon. Time check for you. It is 12:47. I'll be here with you until 2:30, and then Kim Murphy's going to take over at 2:30, get you guys to 3:30 on this pretty gloomy and dreary day in Milwaukee. Taking a live look right now downtown where you can't see the lake, but you can see lots of rain droplets there on the camera. So I'm already ready to be done with this winter, cold temperatures. I'd rather be thinking about the summer, maybe some baseball, and that's where our next guest comes in. We are chatting with Brady Keiss, Milwaukee native and party animal for the Banana Ball League. Brady, thanks for joining us again on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Yes, thank you so much for having me back. I'm excited to be back on.
Yes, last time you were here, it was pre-draft, and you know you were a party animal last season. You made it very clear you wanted to stay a party animal next season because the party animals are taking over AmFam in You did it.
Yes,
How does it feel?
Yes, we are. I was definitely nervous there for a little bit, but so excited to be back and so excited to get the opportunity in June to come back here and play in American Family Field.
Yeah, okay, so this was kind of the first time they've done this live draft event. You could tune in online, watch it happen in real time. You went in round 4 to the party animals. What was that moment like, hearing your name called, knowing you were going to stay a party animal?
Oh, it was awesome. I was with my parents. We were watching it, and that's actually how we found out what team we were going to when we got drafted. Just like the fans, that's how we found out. So it was an awesome experience to be able to have my name called. That I was going back to the party animals, to know that I get to come back home and experience banana ball for the city of Milwaukee.
Yeah, I know last time you joined us, I asked you this question. I'll ask it again for any viewers who missed your first interview, but How does a Milwaukee guy end up in banana ball as a party animal?
Yeah, so my roommate in college, they came to the Bananas. He's on the Bananas. He's the Banana Center for their DR Meadows. They came to Milwaukee in 2023 and played in Franklin. And I went and visited him, and he was like, "Man, you should come throw a bullpen for us." And it's like, well, I don't know if that's really for me, but I went and I ended up going to throw the bullpen and seeing the game and everything about the game. I wanted to be a part of, from what they do for the fans, the entertainment, to the actual game. You know, that's what a lot of people don't see is how competitive the game actually is. And so the baseball enthusiasts, they get their part, but then everybody else, that, you know, there's something for everybody at these games. So I had to be a part of it, did the tryout, and I became a party animal.
Yeah, and also I feel like the Party Animals were clearly the team to be last season. Y'all won the championship. What was that moment like for you guys?
It was really cool. So in 2023, they actually beat the Bananas overall as well. So 2024 was close, but we didn't win it there. But this year we had an actual playoff tournament because we had 4 teams. So we ended up beating the Firefighters in the championship game, winning the championship with a bunch of guys that are actually, most of us are going to be back on this 2026 season. So it's going to be fun to run it back with the guys that we won a championship with last year.
I was going to say, so one thing that was kind of interesting about watching the draft is that you do see some of these players switch teams. You see some people who have been Savannah Bananas now going to the Firefighters and all of that. But with your coach, he was pretty loyal. A lot of party animals stayed party animals. Talk to me about that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, they always say if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So he was definitely loyal to us. We have a great time. He is a great coach, great manager. We all love playing for him. We party. We have a good time. We like to say that we are the party of banana ball. We bring the fun, and you know, as a group of what we are with the party animals, it's just a great group to be with. As the other guys from, you know, some of the Bananas and things like that went to the other teams, they're happy to be there. It's a different experience. Going to get some different guys in different places and see some where their careers go.
I have to ask you about the first overall draft pick. Did you have any idea that Jackie Bradley Jr.?
No, I had no idea. Nobody had any idea. You know, it even was the announcers that were announcing the draft. They had no idea. It was a complete secret. But it's going to be really cool to be able to play against him and play with him, practice with him around Savannah. You know, he was on the Brewers at some point, so it's cool to be able to say that I'm going to be able to play against someone that was on the Brewers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like we've seen some of these former Major League Baseball players maybe join for an at-bat, maybe throw out a pitch, but this is somebody doing it full-time. Do you feel like that adds a little bit of credibility to Banana Ball as well? Like, hey, take us seriously.
Definitely. I mean, I think that it's going to be really cool to be able to have a guy that, you know, he was an MVP, he was a Gold Glover, to be able to come in and want to be a part of what we're doing here with Banana Ball. He did come when and get an at bat. He was one of those guys that was a special guest, and you know, saw it. I haven't spoken to him personally, but I can just imagine seeing it and now wanting to be a part of it. It makes sense.
Yeah. You mentioned the Brewers a few minutes ago. I want to just go back to the fact that you will get to most likely, hopefully, take the mound at AmFam. What is that moment going to be like for you, Brady?
Oh, I have no idea. I wish I could tell you what it's going to feel like, what it's going to be like, but I don't know how I'm going to feel. I'm definitely going to go out there and try and take it all in, look around, see all the people, see the fans. I know I'm going to have a lot of family, a lot of friends there, trying to just experience it with all of them, because it really is a dream for everybody in my family that they're going to be a part of it too.
I was going to say, are friends and family already hitting you up now for tickets?
Oh, definitely. Even before I was officially a party animal, I got a lot of messages out there from people wanting some tickets.
That's too funny. Yeah, Delaney and I, our producer, we entered the lottery, so our fingers are crossed that we get to see you, Brady, because Banana Ball is just so much fun to see. So for anyone watching who's never gone to a Banana Ball game before, what are we in for?
Man, it's something on a field that you've never seen before. You know, we have a show going on before the actual game, we have a show during the game, and we have a show after the game. There's a lot of stuff going on, from dancing to trick plays to home runs, and it's really a baseball game, but there's a lot of entertainment going on all around the stadium throughout the entire time that you're there.
Yeah, last time you were here, you actually taught us some of the Party Animals dance moves.
Yeah.
Do you have any new dance moves you wanted to share with us today?
Yeah, so we have something called the Rude Dudes, right? So
Okay.
the Rude Dudes, we go on top of the dugouts before we hit, and we have a few dances for the guys as they go to the plate. So our shortstop, Chase Acuff, who he broke his shin this year, but he'll be back next year. So we'll be able to see him in AmFam Field. His walk-up dance is pretty fun. So we have 4 counts with our right hand. We're going to build the beat up, okay? So we're starting from the bottom, building it up.
Got it.
And we go 4 counts with the left hand,
Got it.
okay? And then we start swimming.
Oh.
We swim a little bit for 4 counts. Then we're going to surfboard. That's what we call it, surfboard. And then we
Surfboard.
flip it to another surfboard. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
okay.
You got it.
Okay, walk me through it one more time, Brady, and then we're going to do it.
Okay. All right. So we got 4 counts with the right. We're going to swim. And then we're going to surfboard. Surfboard. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
And this is what we're going
And
to
then it
do
runs back.
next year at AmFam when your shortstop is going up to plate. We're going to be ready to do it with you
Yes,
guys.
exactly.
Okay.
You will be ready, and we'll be on the dugout before the game teaching those dances too.
I am so excited and looking forward to that. Last time you were here, you talked about how you're such a big Green Bay Packers fan. We're going to take a live look here at Lambeau. I know you went to Monday Night Football against the Eagles, which was probably not the outcome you wanted, but how was showing around some of the Party Animals Milwaukee and Wisconsin?
It was great. It was great. I mean, even though it wasn't the outcome we wanted, we all had a great time at Lambeau and Green Bay, great time in Milwaukee. We got to go to the Bucs game. I got to go to the Badger game too and storm the field, so that was fun. We had a full weekend when some of those guys were in town. Got to show them the whole state that that we have here for sports that we're so big and proud of.
So now they're probably even more excited for next June when they're coming back.
Definitely. That was really the only stadium that we didn't get to hit, so they're excited to be back here.
Yeah, I love that. All right, well, I always have so much fun getting to chat with you, Brady. If anybody is watching right now thinking, I want to do that, I want to be a party animal or just in the Banana Ball League, what would be your advice to them?
My advice, if you want to get to a tryout, go to the Banana Ball website, and there's going to be a question that you can fill out. Fill it out. You'll probably have to make some videos. The process has changed a little bit since I have gotten a part of it, but someone should reach out to you, and hopefully you get that invite to the tryout, and then go on dancing from there.
And maybe like practice some trick plays. I know you juggle sometimes from the mound.
Exactly.
All right.
Yep. Definitely be practicing those trick plays, practicing some dancing, practicing some celebrations, and just go out there and have some fun.
All right, we're looking forward to it. We cannot wait for next June when you will now be at AmFam with the Party Animals. We'll have to have you on again a little bit closer to that game. But Brady, thanks so much for chatting with us yet again here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. So fun seeing our Milwaukee native crushing it with Banana Ball, sticking with the Party Animals, went in the 4th round of that draft, which is what we all wanted to hear, because now he will be taken to the field at AmFam. Such a cool opportunity when you grew up here in Wisconsin and you went to so many Brewers games. So love that for Brady. Hey, we're going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We've got some more news and things we're watching on the feed, so we'll bring that to you next after 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Tuesday afternoon as we are now at the 1 p.m. hour, meaning I've got another hour and a half with you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Then Kim Murphy will take over and get you guys all the way to 3:30. So far, we've already covered the latest in the House as far as the bill that would release the Jeffrey Epstein files. We've also gotten to hear the latest from Brady Keiss, a Milwaukee native who is on the Party Animals. If you've ever heard of Savannah Bananas or Banana Ball, who is taking over Fam next June. So excited for our hometown guy to get to play in front of his friends and family at the Brewers Stadium that he grew up getting to go to. And now we've got some more news for you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're actually being joined with our very own Abril Preciado. She just got done doing the 794 walkthrough. So Abril, tell us how that went. What are you working on today?
Hey guys, how's it going? So yes, we just wrapped up just a couple, maybe 30 minutes ago on this walkthrough that happened here in this area under 794, which is where we're under at right now. We walked towards Clybourne and then we went over east and kind of just went around kind of heading towards St. Paul and all around just to kind of see what we see right here pretty much. It was us and a group of maybe, I want to say like 15 people, 15, 20-ish people that came around. So it was a good solid crowd that, was really interested in seeing, as a group, what are we experiencing near 794. So once again, as mentioned, we walked around, kind of seeing and observing what kind of obstacles people that live in the area or that are coming across it, seeing a lot of the observations that were made and that we've heard from people that were part of this walkthrough, was saying that we just kept coming across several empty parking spaces, or empty space to be exact, that we just kept coming across spaces that many of them argued or even mentioned that, could be used and utilized for something else that can either help with building new infrastructure, new housing developments, grocery stores in the area, especially for folks that live around the 3rd Ward area or in this section right here, where that's something that comes across as a struggle. Another thing that was also mentioned is the fact that there's a lot of people that ride their bikes around here. Well, many of them say that they feel unsafe. One woman that we spoke to inside after, during the debrief, she was telling us how she loves to ride her bike and she has kids, but she would only ride her bike by herself around this area. She wouldn't feel safe bringing her kids along just because of how unsafe it is, especially with traffic coming one way. Another thing that was also mentioned during the walkthrough from speaking to folks is that this area usually during under this the I-79, no, I'm so sorry, 794 is the fact that a lot of it, all of this is it's kind of deserted, it's kind of empty. And so obviously also the removal of it can also help bring more folks to the area, more movement. So that's pretty much what we saw.
Yeah, I know that the kind of goal of this whole project, Abril, is to prioritize connection and safety for everybody who uses this corridor, and they plan to do several of these kind of walkthroughs. What was your thoughts today? Do you think it went as a success? Did you get a lot of input? Did you hear a lot of people voicing their concerns?
Well, yes, some of the concerns that were mentioned were kind of the ones that I just mentioned right now. The fact that, there's a lot of empty space that can be utilized for something else that can bring in and can also contribute to our local economy, bring in more, will be very abundant for our economy here locally in Milwaukee, bring in the new generation of Milwaukeeans, bring in more people and kind of put it in that competitive standpoint. Obviously, the other question is the fact that but what about traffic? Traffic is obviously something that we're always trying to come across. So what comes with that? And so they were mentioning about maybe talking about maybe different methods to help with the traffic and the flow. But overall, it's been like a mixture of things. A lot of it, many of it has been pretty much the removal of it and the benefits that it would do for folks out here locally that live in the area, and to help grow Milwaukee and make it more competitive as well. This was actually the first meeting that they're hosting, the first walkthrough meeting. They're planning to have 2 more from what they were telling us today. And so, we'll stay tuned. As mentioned, only maybe 15, 20-ish people were here contributing and actually participating in this walkthrough. So that was pretty cool to see. I'm assuming on the other dates, maybe other people may be able to come, whether, because they won't be at work, or they'll be able to kind of squeeze it in. But today we kind of got a feel of what people would see. And the walk is not that bad. We were told that it was going to be 30 minutes, but it kind of went pretty fast. I think the fact that it's a little cool out here kind of helped a little bit, because you're kind of warming up, and then as you're talking to people, it kind of goes by fast. So before we knew it, it was 30 minutes, and it was just kind of really insightful to see. We actually came across this area where we saw that the sidewalk ended. So if folks are walking, it's like, oh, I can't get to the other side because there's no sidewalk, and that's just vehicular traffic going through. So how do I get there? So it's just little things that you kind of stumble upon that you're like, okay, that's something to look at. But really insightful. I'll obviously bring in more of the details, and you'll hear from those folks later on in my report.
Abril, that's such a good point that you just brought up. Sometimes you can be looking at a map or looking at a rendering, but there's something different about being there and taking the actual steps, walking to see where the problems are, and things like, the sidewalk ending that you maybe wouldn't have realized just looking at a photo. So I love that people are going out and really walking the path that they're talking about. I'm curious, right now, are we just gathering input, or is there actual plans for some new development here?
Well, right now, from what we were able to gather here, it's just mainly gathering input from folks in the area. Once again, the fact that people even gathered here, I thought it was for me, that really got my attention. It's raining today. It's a rainy day. It's pretty gloomy and it's cold, and we still got a good, at least when we observed, there was a good chunk of people that came out here. At the end, many people were able to write down their observations and kind of their thoughts about what they saw, and also maybe some of their concerns. Once again, one of the areas that people were telling us is the fact that, there's no bike lanes, the safety, the need of more infrastructure in the area, in these empty spaces. And from what we were told is that, they're hoping to get all that information up on their website from this group that is actually organizing this walkthrough, or these walkthroughs, I should say. They're going to be having it up online so folks can also see it, and hopefully there's a decision that could be made later on and whatnot, or can be looked at by both parties, WSDOT and the city, and possibly with this group kind of gathering the community's input.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you've been hard at work already doing a lot of news gathering. When can we catch your full story on Fox Local, Abril?
Yeah, so we'll be airing part of it later on today at 4, and then our full story at 5. So you can stay tuned. And also, if you miss it, you guys could also watch it on our Fox Local app.
All right, Abril, we will keep our eyes out for your full report. But thanks so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk today.
Of course, thank you.
Stay warm. I always appreciate our reporters when they're out in the rain and those cold temperatures. I know it can be brutal, but I love her point that even in this not so pretty weather, I mean, take a live look in Milwaukee right now. This is what we're dealing with, right? No one wants to go outside when it's just gray skies and water droplets everywhere and 39 degrees, so it's cold rain. But I love that even in those weather conditions, people still showed up to walk this corridor of I-794 and voice their opinions of, this is what I don't like, this is what I do like, this is what I would love to see here. The point about her mom, or a mom who loves to ride her bike, who said, I wouldn't bring my kids here, I don't think it's safe. All of that is such valuable input. So if you want to go to one of those walks, I would definitely keep an eye on a Brill story later today on Fox Local, because I believe there are 2 more of those planned, hopefully with nicer weather, but you can get your input in that way. All right, we are keeping our eye on a few things on the feed. I want to go ahead and bring up this shot. This would be where we're trying to see if we can catch. We always try on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and very rarely are we able to actually get the moment. But this would be one of the wings of the White House, where at some point soon, the Saudi Crown Prince will depart. He arrived already today. He met with President Trump in front of members of the media. We learned that he is upping his planned U.S. investments to $1 trillion. We also heard kind of Trump's thoughts, dismissing some criticism of the Saudi Crown Prince over the 2018 killing of a journalist. So now they've been kind of behind closed doors. Media has not had access to the 2 of them for about an hour or so, but at some point he is expected to get in that vehicle and to drive off. So we will keep our eyes peeled here on the Wisconsin Live Desk on that feed. Delaney and I try often to try and get those departures. Again, we miss them a lot of the times just because they happen so quickly, but if and when it happens, we'll try to bring it to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and then we'll be back in 2 minutes with more live and local news. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Tuesday afternoon. Time check for you. It is now 1:13. We've been monitoring kind of a lot on the feeds. I know I did a little bit of a roundup as we started, but let me do another quick one for you here. Again, this would be one of the wings of the White House where we are waiting for the Saudi Crown Prince to depart. He arrived earlier today, already met with President Trump, already spoke with members of the media. They've been behind closed doors for about the last hour or so. So the vehicle is there for his departure. We'll keep our eye and see if we can get that moment. Again, big news coming out of his meeting with media is that he's upping his U.S. investment to $1 trillion with a T dollars. The other thing we've been keeping our eyes on here on the Wisconsin Live Desk is the House floor. We've already listened in for a little bit as the representatives take to the podium to share their thoughts on a bipartisan bill that would release the Epstein files. And so far, when we have been listening in, we have heard, a little bit of what I call the blame game, where you hear Democrats blame Republicans, Republicans blame Democrats, but across the board, it was support for the bipartisan bill that would release all of those files in its entirety. The House is expected to vote on that bill at some point today. It should pass based off of everything that we're hearing from representatives. And then Democrats are already urging the GOP to very quickly bring it to the Senate floor so that they can vote in the Senate as well. Again, up until last night, President Trump has not been in support of the release of the entirety of the Epstein files. However, he now has changed his tune and says that if this bill makes its way to his desk, he will sign it, which would then release all of the Epstein files. We're talking of thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of files that a lot of lawmakers have wanted the access to read through, and for the public to read through and to try and gain information on this sexual abuse case with Epstein. We've been able to hear from survivors. Of course, Epstein's ex, Ghislaine Maxwell, is still serving her prison sentence for her role in the abuse allegations. Earlier this year, the Supreme Court said they would not have her appeal those charges, meaning they could not do a retrial. So we've heard a lot of support for, obviously, those abuse survivors, and a lot of support just for these files to be released. And again, from what we've heard here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, whether it be a Democrat or a Republican taking to that podium, everyone has said so far that they will vote for the release of those files. Don't have an exact time of when that vote will happen, but of course our eyes are on the feed, and if and when that happens, we'll let you know the outcome here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Otherwise, here in Milwaukee, it's a little bit of a dreary day. Lots of rain droplets there. Just it's not a nice one out there. You know, it's cold when it's raining, and it's cold, it's even more miserable. But it's days like today that really remind me the importance of what we're doing right now, which is our 41st year of the FOX6 Coats for Kids drive. We are collecting coats right now through December 7th. So I'll go through the spiel. If you need a reminder of what you can donate brand new winter coats. You can also donate gently loved winter coats. What do we ask when they're gently loved? We ask that it's a coat that you would still want your child to wear, meaning that zipper works, meaning there's no tears in it, no holes in the pockets, no stains on it. What you would send your child to school in for a winter coat, that's what we want to see you donate. I know sometimes you might think, oh, this is a nice sweatshirt. Would you really want your child at the bus stop in a sweatshirt when it's 20 degrees out? Probably not. So we really want those really good winter coats for the kiddos. You can also donate winter accessories. Those do need to be brand new, so if it's new hats or gloves or scarves, we will take all of that, because obviously Wisconsin winters can be very brutal, and getting to the bus stop and being warm is not a want, it's a need here in Wisconsin. I say it often, I'm not somebody who has a ton of extra storage, so I don't have extra jackets lying around. That's where that QR code is going to come in handy for you. You can scan that code to make a monetary donation to the FOX6 Coats for Kids drive. I'm actually going to pull up right now to see up to the minute of what our donations are at. We're really excited. Tomorrow we're going to have our phone bank, so we're hoping to get a lot of money raised for these jackets. Right now we are, I think, just under $10,000 raised by 108 donors. We're at $9,987, which is amazing. You guys, every $25 that you donate, we are able to buy a brand new winter coat that actually retails for about $61. So it's a great deal. We do that in partnership with Operation Warm. We got to talk to their partnership director yesterday here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And he talked about all the thought that goes into designing these jackets. They have kind of experts at Nordstrom and TJ Maxx who help them make sure the jackets they're making are on trend with the designs and with the colors. He did joke, no matter what year, there's always going to be a pink coat. But he wants kids to love what they're wearing when they go to school, because he also talks about going to school with confidence helps them tremendously in how they perform in the classroom and with their grades and all of those types of important things. So I'm going to pull up that QR code one more time. If you are able to donate, we would love to have you join us as we try and help out our community. Again, a $25 donation will raise enough money for one coat. So I always just do some quick math for you. 4 coats would be $100. $200 would get you 8 brand new coats. I know, 41st year for a coat drive sounds like, why do you keep doing it every single year? That's because the need is still here every single year. Kids, they grow so fast. So that winter coat that worked for them last year might not even fit them now this year. And coats get a lot of use here in Wisconsin. So maybe the coat that worked for them last year now has that broken zipper, which isn't going to work when you're dealing with negative temperatures. So thank you for everybody who has already joined us. Again, you have until December 7th to drop off those coats at Steinhoffel's, at Landmark Credit Union, or at Salvation Army. If you're dropping them off at a Salvation Army, just make sure it's not one of their store locations, because then they'll take the donation, but it's going to go in their store, and we want it to go to our coat drive. So more so the churches and their distribution centers are where you can drop off with the Salvation Army. Another very exciting thing for us here at Fox 6 is that we have yet again the Packers right here on Fox 6 come Sunday. Let's see what we have here. 10 a.m. Fox NFL kickoff, 11 a.m. Fox NFL Sunday. Then the game. Ooh, this will be a good one. Delaney and I were already talking about it. Green Bay versus the Minnesota Vikings. That's at noon, which I know TVV has said is what fans really like. That's kind of the prime time for us. We like a good noon kickoff. But if you still want to watch some football after that, 3:25, we've got Eagles at Cowboys. 10:30, of course, Fox 6 Sports Blitz. Should we bring in our producer? I've almost gone a full hour without bringing in Delaney, which was so nice of me. It's because she's got such a full control room. I mean, for starters, let's just take a look at this. Delaney, what is going on? Why do we have so many special guests back there?
They're learning how to do the live desk.
We love that. Okay, well then you can speak for all of you. Maybe take a quick poll. Who's going to win, Packers or Vikings?
Well, Christina's in the same boat as you. She's a Bears fan.
Yes, so we don't care. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go for the Bears. Okay, what did Trisha say?
We're both Packers.
Okay, you're really?
Yeah.
Despite losing to the Carolina Panthers, despite losing to the Browns, and despite barely squeaking out a victory against the Giants.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are still Packers.
I love that.
Hopeful.
I appreciate, a little bit of optimism. Would you like to know the outcome of fantasy officially?
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
I pulled off the win. That is 4 in a row. Delaney, I'm 8-3 on the season. I had 157 points to her 124. So pretty proud of myself. I think TVV is going to be really proud tomorrow. And I would like to update you guys that on my picks league, I'm in first place. So just crushing it when it comes to the football. Thank you, Christina, for the round of applause there. I appreciate the support.
Good news all around.
I know. I guess now we have 2 more people we can take to our Wisconsin Live Desk dinner if I win fantasy.
Yeah, they'll have to join.
Well, it's a pizza party if I only win one. It's going out to dinner if I win both.
I know. I hope you win both.
I know. I hope I win both because last year I got second in picks. And so I really want my redemption of this year getting first.
Yeah.
And who wins their first year ever of doing fantasy? We have a chance.
I know, that's exciting.
Yeah. All right, let's take another live look here at Green Bay Lambeau Field, where it is not snowing the way that it is in Oshkosh. But again, exciting. Green Bay is away, so they will not be playing here at Lambeau come Sunday. They will be playing in Minnesota against the Vikings, but you don't have to go to Minnesota. You can if you want. You can just tune in to Fox 6. We've got that game for you coming up at noon. And one more time, just a little bit scary, I think, this live camera of Oshkosh. Actually, I take it back. I think snow is so pretty to look at, just not to have to experience. So I love looking at the snow in Oshkosh. It looks a little bit like a winter wonderland, but we don't have to deal with that right here, which we really like. I do actually really quickly, I just noticed on the feed, we were listening to all of those representatives talk about their thoughts on this bipartisan bill to release the Epstein files. They have actually begun the vote. It looks like they still have 8.5 minutes to vote, so we will get those results here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. So we will keep our eye on this feed. So far, it looks like all of the votes that are in have been yay. So obviously we'll keep our eye on this, see if this gets passed. 117 representatives have already voted. 315 still need to cast their ballot. That's not voted. So they have not yet said yay or nay. So far though, every vote of the 121 that has been a yay. So again, we'll keep this up. We will keep our eye on this feed, and we'll let you know what comes out of that. That is a huge news story, months and months and months in the making. Again, this is just kind of step one to get all of the Epstein files. Next, it would go to the Senate. We don't know when a vote would be called for that. Democrats are urging the GOP to do it as soon as possible to bring this bill to the Senate floor for a vote. And again, President Trump has now said as soon as it reaches his desk, he will vote yes for it. All right, I think we're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll monitor the feeds. We'll keep our eye, of course, on the House. They still have 7.5 minutes to get all of those votes in, and we'll let you know what they decide. Again, everything that we've heard, it should easily pass the House. It has bipartisan support for that bill, but of course we'll bring you the official votes and all the results as soon as we have that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's Haley with you for the next hour until 2:30. That's when Kim Murphy will take over, and she'll get you guys to 3:30 here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, where we just kind of take you around to the latest news live as it happens. A lot of the time that's here in Wisconsin, but sometimes we go around the country, sometimes even around the world. Right now there is a huge story unfolding in DC at the House, where right now there is a vote underway. You can see right there is still 4.5 minutes left for the U.S. representatives to get their votes in. This is for a bill that would release all of the Jeffrey Epstein files. We have been talking about these Epstein files for months, if not years at this point. And up until this point, really the president has said he did not want all of the files to be released. That all changed last night when President Donald Trump said, if this bill does pass and it makes its way to my desk, I will sign it. We will release all those files. So we were listening into the House floor earlier in the Wisconsin Live Desk as we heard from the lawmakers with their thoughts on these files. And what was indicated is what we're seeing, that everyone is in support of this bill that would release all of them. Again, they still have about 3.5 minutes left, and we're still waiting on 240 votes. But so far, of the people who have voted, all 96 Republicans, all 100 Democrats have said yes to passing this bill that would release all of the Epstein files. Again, that doesn't mean they're going to be released as soon as this bill passes. It still has to make its way through both both chambers of Congress. So next it would have to go to the Senate. We don't know yet when the Senate will take this up. Democrats are urging for it to be as soon as possible. And again, once it passed the Senate, which is most likely when we're seeing this much bipartisan support of the House, that's when it would go to the president's desk, which he has indicated he would pass it. Again, this is thousands and thousands and thousands of files and pages of these documents. One thing to note, there's our first nay vote that just came in here with about 3 minutes left to go. A Republican voting against this bill. Still, so far, just overwhelming support is what we're seeing. 211 votes as opposed to the 1 nay. So we'll keep our eye on this. Again, next 2.5 minutes, that should be finalized. It should pass the House, but that's a very big story that's unfolding right now in D.C. Another thing happening right now in D.C. as we monitor the feeds is this camera. This is set up here at the White House at one of the wings where we are expecting to see the departure of the Saudi crown prince. You never know when these things are going to happen, and it's very quick, these departures, so sometimes we try and get it here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and we are not successful, but the Saudi crown prince and the president met with members of the media earlier today after his arrival, where he announced that he was upping his U.S. investments to $1 trillion with a T dollars. And since then, they've kind of been behind closed doors. So we know that the two of them are still together here in the White House, but members of the media have not been allowed into those conversations, neither have their cameras. So where we are allowed to be is here set up at the wing as we wait his departure. So we'll keep our eye again on this feed, see if we can capture that here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Otherwise, I think we're just going to kind of wait it out here on this vote with the U.S. House. Normally I wouldn't, but this is such a big deal when you talk about the Jeffrey Epstein files that I think we should watch it. It does look like potentially one of the votes was incorrectly entered because that nay vote that we saw is now gone. So as of this moment, with about a minute left, 267 lawmakers have voted. They've all voted yay to passing this bill. We're still waiting on 162 lawmakers to vote. That NV means not voted. So we will see what comes of this. But again, we have just 50 seconds left for them to get those vote in. Sometimes they don't vote, but we will see if this passes. So I'm just going to leave this up here for the final 40 or so seconds. As again, we wait to see what the House says, but clearly so far, that is bipartisan support for the release of the Epstein files. Long talked about, and it's kind of surprising to see President Trump change his mind with this. I know when I saw that news come down yesterday, I was surprised. We were talking earlier today with one of our kind of Fox experts, and he said, perhaps it just came with the writing on the wall. You know, so many people want them that the president said, all right, I'm going to get behind it as well. So again, here we are with the last 4 or so seconds. I wonder if this feed actually has any audio. Let me turn it on and see if we can hear anything coming from the House floor as the time has now run out for them to cast their votes here on the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Again, this was a bill that was had bipartisan support. That is clearly what we're seeing from the vote. That will next go to the Senate. I don't have a timeline on when the Senate will take it up, but it looks like we're still getting kind of some of those final submissions inputted. My grammar is escaping me right now, but we'll keep our eye on that. It does look like now we do have a nay vote again. That did disappear last time when I saw a nay vote pop up on the Republicans, so we'll see if that's a true nay vote, but either way, this is looking like it should pass here in the House. All right, I'm going to kind of leave this up while I take a look at the feeds and see where we can go next here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We do have a live interview coming up in about the next 10 minutes with the Milwaukee Admirals. We've been so lucky to get to chat with them every single Tuesday. And today we get to talk to their head coach, so that's coming up here in the next few minutes. But I know there's a couple of things on the ELCs, on the different feeds that we monitor, that I want to see if we can go to next. But again, we're just watching as these final votes get input here on the House. If you're just tuning in, this would be for the bill that would release the Jeffrey Epstein files. So we've been keeping our eye on that. I'm going to pull up this other feed that's happening here. I'm going to put it right here. And I think while we wait for these votes to get finalized, we're going to go over here. Although this looks like it might be done as well. This was a House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee. Let me turn up the sound and see if they're still meeting. But I'm gathering that this subcommittee hearing might also have just finished up. All right, well, we'll keep our eye on different things here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Looks like there's still 80 votes that they're waiting to calculate from the House. So Delaney and I will keep our eye on that feed, and we'll bring you the latest news there. But I do know there's some big news in the world of pop culture this week that we could also get to here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and that is the release of Wicked for Good. If you're not a Wicked fan and you're confused thinking this movie came out last year, that was just part one. Now we're on part two, the Broadway musical turn movie. They didn't want to have to take anything out, so they said, we'll do the first half, we'll make that movie one, and then after what comes after the intermission of the musical, we'll make that part two. So here you see lots of the stars, the director, some behind the scenes people as well. This was the premiere in New York. They've had premieres all around the globe, and this is the last one as the movie officially comes out on Friday, although I know there's sneak peek previews all week long because one of my friends went and saw it yesterday. I'm really excited for Wicked for Good. I love, obviously, we've talked about it here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I love Broadway. I love theater. Wicked was the first musical that I think I saw that was a professional production that really gave me my love for theater. So it was cool to get to see it now at the movies. And I'm going tomorrow night with my friends. So we're going to get to go see Wicked for Good just a few days early. Delaney is already looking at the camera because she knows that I'm going to bring her in next. Delaney, did you see Wicked Part 1? And are you seeing Wicked for Good?
I did see part 1, and I'm going to go see part 2 on Saturday, I think.
Okay, so I'll have to keep the secrets after I go and see it tomorrow night. I won't tell you anything. I don't want to spoil it.
I know, I'm jealous you get to go so early.
Well, I don't know if we should be jealous because I originally thought this is a great idea. I'll go see it Wednesday night. Then I got my schedule and I have to actually anchor the early hours of wake up. So I might be a little bit sleep deprived come Thursday.
You'll definitely be tired, but it'll be worth it.
I think so. Is there a song that you're really excited to see in For Good?
Not really. I think I'm just excited for the whole thing.
Really? Okay. I think I'm definitely excited for Good. And I think I'm really excited for, well, I love Jonathan Bailey. So Fiero and Alphaba have some really good moments coming up in this next movie, and I'm excited for that.
I know, I'm excited for all of that.
Also, I think we should remind everyone that Jonathan Bailey was voted People's Sexiest Man Alive this year, so.
I know, I almost forgot about that.
I know, how could you? How could you, Delaney? Christina, are you a fan of Wicked? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Thumbs up. Are you going to see For Good? Love it. Okay, so we will all have to have a powwow. Christina doesn't have the ability to chat with us the way Delaney does, so I like the communication of the thumbs up. We'll all have to chat after we see this. But here's my next question. Are you wearing pink or green to the movies?
Ooh, last time I wore green, so
Yep.
maybe pink. I don't know, though.
Okay. I wore green last time, and I just got this really cute green puffer in, so I was like, oh, I'll wear that. But then my friend, oh, that's crazy. My friend I'm seeing Wicked with just texted me, wants to wear green. So I'm like, should I wear pink then? Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Or we can both be Alphaba.
You could.
Yeah. All
if
right.
you already have the green coat, I wouldn't go out of your way to find something pink.
I mean, I'm sure I own a pink sweatshirt, but we'll assess the closet situation. And I will update the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Perfect.
The same way I update the Wisconsin Live Desk every week on my fantasy football league, because I know you guys care.
I know.
Thank you.
I like to hear the update.
I appreciate Delaney. She doesn't really have a choice because she's forced to listen to the Wisconsin Live Desk, but I appreciate that she acts like she does. That's very kind of her. All right, we're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. If you are just joining us, kind of the roundup, there's two things we're waiting on. One is this departure that will be the Saudi Crown Prince. We haven't missed it yet, so we're keeping our eye on the feed. The second is the results of this vote. Still waiting for, it looks like, 13 to be calculated. So interesting. Now the nay for the Democrat is gone and there is a nay from a Republican. Those are changing as they're kind of calculated and input, so we'll keep our eye for the final vote count. But this has passed. So that bill to release the Epstein files will have passed hurdle 1, which is getting out of the House. Next it will go to the Senate. If at any point I find out when the Senate might be taking that up, when a vote is expected, I'll let you know here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Otherwise, we're also very excited to talk to the Milwaukee Admirals head coach. So there's still a lot to come here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. You're going to want to stay tuned. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk this Tuesday afternoon, where it is now 1:41. I'm Haley. I'll be with you here until 2:30, and then Kim Murphy's taking over for the final hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk, which will get you to 3:30. Excited for her to take over, see what she's got for you. As far as the feeds, I can do a quick roundup of what we are waiting for. I know I keep showing this shot. It's because it hasn't happened yet. We are waiting to see if we can catch the departure of the Saudi Crown Prince after meeting with the Trump and announcing a $1 trillion investment with the U.S. The other thing we've been watching is this count. This was for a bipartisan bill to release all of the Jeffrey Epstein files, which has passed. So we expect this to at some point be taken up at the Senate. They will also vote for it there. Don't know when that vote's going to come. But as you can see, of the votes that have been counted, 427 are yay. There is a singular nay vote from a Republican. But otherwise, this has very clearly passed the House and will move on to the next phase of Congress. At some point, we might go to this camera. This is kind of a behind-the-scenes shot right now on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Obviously not quite set up, and there are people standing in front of it. We like to bring you behind the scenes when we can, but this will become a stakeout camera. So this is on the steps of Congress, where I am sure members of the media are waiting to hear from those representatives as they leave the House floor after voting on their thoughts on this situation. We heard from many of a lawmaker earlier today very passionately on their thoughts of this bill. So we will keep our eye on this stakeout camera and see if we can hear from any lawmakers as they leave the House after going through that vote and after passing that bipartisan bill to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Delaney, shall we do question of the day?
Question of the day, Zen.
Should we do it, though?
Yeah, we can do
okay,
it.
Let's bring in Delaney. Time for question of the day. It is Mickey Mouse's birthday. So question of the day is, how many times have you been to Disney World?
I have never been.
That breaks my heart for you a little bit. I really try and tone this part of my personality down, but I will own it. I'm a little bit of a Disney adult. I don't know how many times I've gone. I probably grew up going like twice a year. I still go twice a year, but now I justify it by running half marathons through Disney every time I go to Disney.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know a few weeks ago I was at Disney. I did their Wine and Dine half marathon. Come February, it's their princess race weekend. And I'll actually run the 5K, 10K, and half marathon. So it like makes it a little bit less cringy of a Disney adult.
Yeah, a little bit.
So mean. Listen, Disney's really fun. It's very magical. It's very nostalgic. It's very clean.
I know you know I'm just jealous that I never got
Thank
to go.
you. Thank you for owning what those thoughts really were. I appreciate that. All right, Delaney has gone ahead and made us a true or false question for the day. Ooh, true or false? The first Mickey Mouse film in Technicolor was released in 1935. So I know that Mickey Mouse turns 97 today, because in 1928, he was in Steamboat Willie, which was black and white. So, you know what? Let's go true.
This one is true. It was The Bad Concert, and it was released in 1935.
I love that. Do you have a favorite, I don't know why I'm asking this, the answer's gonna be no, a favorite version of Mickey? Like there's Steamboat Mickey, there's Sorcerer Mickey, there's so many different kinds of Mickey. Do you have a favorite?
Not really. I do like the Steamboat Mickey.
Nostalgic, yeah.
What about you?
Sorcerer Mickey, hands down. I have never even seen Fantasia, but I love Fantasmic at Hollywood Studios, and that's what he's in.
Christina wants to know what your favorite ride at Disney is.
Oh my gosh, Christina, thank you for joining the conversation here. A couple of things. One, for the longest time, it was Tower of Terror. Hollywood Studios is by far my favorite Disney park. However, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind opened a few years ago in Epcot, and that is by far my favorite ride now. What is Christina's answer?
She used to love the old Splash Mountain. She knows it's different now. She just hasn't gotten to try out.
Oh, okay. It's Tiana's Bayou Adventure now. It's stunning. I think you will actually really like it. I think it's better than it was because you know the story, and they did a really good job creating it. And it's less like scary. Oh, we have a follow-up.
She also says Space Mountain.
Oh.
Is another good one.
Space Mountain is so good. Has she been on Tron yet? Okay, Tron Light Cycle I think would also be right up your alley. I think you would really enjoy that one. Wow. Okay, I could talk Disney World all day, but I do see that our next guest is ready to go. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we are gonna talk all things hockey. Get ready, we'll be right back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It's Haley. We are getting really close to 2 p.m., but I've got about 40 minutes left with you. And of course, Kim Murphy is taking over at 2:30 every Tuesday. We've been having so much fun around this time, getting to chat with the Milwaukee Admirals as their season is underway. They've had a ton of theme nights already and a ton of success. And I'm so excited because today we actually get to chat with their very own head coach, Carl Taylor. He joins us right now on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Haley.
Of course. Okay, I mean, so far, how is the season going for you guys?
We're doing well. We got a young group, but it's an exciting group. We're very focused on building our team and getting ready as we go through the season. We've only played 12 games, but we won 8 of them, and we're in second place in our division. So things are going well. The kids are learning. It's an exciting time of the year. It's we'll see how the season goes and what this story is going to tell us in the end. But the start of the year is always exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, taking a look at your schedule this weekend, you guys are actually headed to Vegas, taking on the Henderson Silver Knights. How are we feeling for these 2 games?
No, we're feeling good. We're going to be in Vegas. We're not going to Rockford or Chicago, all these places we play 12 times. So this is a great trip we've had scheduled and circled on the calendar. One, just it's fun to get on the road with the players and allow them to see new places. Obviously, this is a destination for for lots of people out there, but we're excited to play the games. They're a good team this year. I think they're in the top 3 in their division. So we've played them the last 2 seasons. We look forward to playing a hard competitor and to do it on the road. They have a great production there, very similar to their NHL team with the bands, the drums, and all the things they have going on. It's a fun environment. So yeah, we're all looking forward to it and excited to get on the road tomorrow.
No, I'm sure that is more of an ideal destination for an away game when you're talking about Vegas. When you go to these different places, do you get to enjoy these warmer temperatures at all, or are you really just in that cold ice arena still?
Yeah, no, there's time. We try to allot for as much as we can. But yeah, it is a business trip for sure. We do skate on Thursday. It's a 3:00 practice. So in the morning, the guys will have some free time. We like to give them some free time and allow them to explore and see the different areas. Where we stay, it's a casino resort as well. So everything's right on site. Obviously, the strip is always enticing, depending on what your goals are. But we get in Wednesday, so we don't play till Friday and Saturday. Once the games start, we'll be locked in and very focused on what we're doing. But hopefully the guys get some sunshine and are able to enjoy that. And as we're getting ready for the Wisconsin winter that's coming shortly.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the winter has already started. A little too early for me here in Wisconsin. But you mentioned it yourself. The team this year has a lot of young players. So I'm curious for you as their coach, how are you kind of managing their development while also creating a winning culture?
Yeah, no, it's people talk about this all the time. I think they go hand in hand. So when you're winning, you're enjoying what you're doing more. You're having success as a team. You can focus on where we're going and what we're trying to do. They're both very important, what we're trying to do for Nashville and for Milwaukee. Our prospects, we have lots of first-round picks here as I glance up at the board here. And we work individually with the players on individual tactics, on their own areas of development, things that they need to focus on and improve on. It's definitely a focus for us. But if we make the players better, our team will play better, and then the finished product will be better. So as a group, that's something we always, as a coaching staff, we always invest in, is trying to empower the players. It's not always them doing what we want them to do. We want them to understand what they need to do to improve and better themselves as an individual so that they can reach their own goals of making the National Hockey League or being a great player here in Milwaukee for our hometown Admirals.
Yeah, you talk about making it to the NHL. Obviously, that'd be the Nashville Predators for your Milwaukee Admirals. How do you deal with a roster then that is kind of constantly changing, whether that be to those call-ups or maybe because of injuries?
Yeah, well, it's the way it is, right? So I've been doing this a long time at this level, and one of the main things you have to focus on is don't think about the people that aren't here. You wish them the best if they're called up. Obviously, if they're injured and what have you, we're trying to rehab them and get them back as soon as possible. But if we lose players to Nashville, we're excited for their opportunities that they have. And we're excited for the new guys joining our roster that are going to be getting more opportunity now that there's a roster hole. You got a coach who's here, and if you lower your standards because some people have left, your expectations need to stay high. So you definitely want to be in a position where our expectations are the same all the time. We win here. We're focused on winning. We're focused on developing. We're focusing on putting on a great entertainment product for people to come and watch. But you can do both. And I think the focus being on that with your roster changing, injuries, call-ups, all the different things that happen. You just deal with it day by day and understand that you don't have control over those things. As a coach, we talk about control the controllables a lot. And sometimes we have to listen to our own voices.
Yeah, well, you're clearly doing something right. I mean, you are the team's most winningest coach since joining the AHL, more than 250 wins. I am curious for you as a coach, is it a cool moment for you? Obviously, I'm sure, as you mentioned, so many players' goal is to make it to the NHL, to get to be there for that moment when they get called up and they make it to that big stage.
Yeah, it's really enjoyable. It is exciting to be able to relay that news, to share that news to people. That's something that it is a nice moment for sure. It's a lifelong dream for the individuals the first time it happens. It's fun to share all the time. My manager, Scott Nickel, he addresses them most of the time. Sometimes I've been fortunate enough to be in the room or to be part of that. It's a very emotional time for these young people, young athletes that have their whole lives have been focused on being a great athlete, trying to be a good person, understand what it takes to get to the National Hockey League. And when they get the news, it's pretty exciting and usually pretty emotional for most individuals. So that is a joy of our job. Unfortunately, we also get the other end of it too when we send people to the East Coast League. So there's good and bad with every job. And
right.
That one you highlighted obviously is one of our better, more enjoyable moments that we get to share in.
Yeah, of course. We also do love rooting for them while they're here in Milwaukee, while they are Admirals. And we are excited for y'all's trip to Vegas. I'm sure we'll check in again next week here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Haley. Have a great day.
You as well. Always fun to hear the latest with the ads. I actually want to get us back out to D.C., where moments ago, I know we were following that vote pretty closely when it came to the House for that bipartisan bill that would pass or release the Jeffrey Epstein files. That has officially passed, and they are speaking again on the House floor. So I want to go ahead and listen in to the very latest. Again, that bipartisan bill has passed to release the Epstein files, meaning next it will head to the Senate for a vote.
To National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska Integrated Activity Plan Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the Joint Resolution, House Joint Resolution 130, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the Joint Resolution, House Joint Resolution 130.
All right, so it looks like the House is already moving on to their next item of agenda, which is why we're going to turn our eyes actually to this feed. I know this camera looks a little bit silly right now as it's not quite set up. It's more of a behind the scenes look. This is the steps of Congress where we are expecting to hear potentially from some of these lawmakers who just voted. That final vote, I know we were watching the tally very closely, was 427 yays to a singular no. And we have learned that no vote came from Representative Clay Higgins. He is a Louisiana Republican. He also chairs a subcommittee that initiated a subpoena on the Justice Department for the Epstein files. I'm sure a lot of people will be trying to chat with Clay Higgins, figuring out his decision, his reasoning behind his singular nay vote. But again, this really passed very easily with that bipartisan support, 427 to 1. It looks like they might be trying to set up that camera at some point, whether that be for their reporter or for the stakeout, as we wait to see if we can hear from any lawmakers. Again, this does not mean that all of the files are going to be released right now. What this means is the House has passed this bipartisan bill. Now it makes its way to the Senate floor. We do not know when the Senate will take it up, when they will vote on it. We do know that the president has said if it reaches his desk that he will be voting. Or not voting, he'll sign it. So he will release the Epstein files. He is now supporting the release of those files, which is a pretty big change from what he has been saying since all of this. So keeping our eye on that. Again, we're just kind of watching here the steps to see if we can catch any lawmakers, but the big news there, the Epstein files bill did pass 427 to 1. So that is some pretty clear bipartisan support. Again, the one singular nay came from Representative Clay Higgins, a Louisiana Republican. All right, so we're keeping our eye on that. The House has now moved on to voting for other things, so I'm not quite sure how long it will take for that stakeout cam to get a lawmaker, but Delaney and I will both keep our eye on it and bring it to you here on the live desk as soon as we see anyone. We're, of course, also keeping our eye right here. This is one of the wings of the White House where we're expecting at some point to see the departure of the Saudi crown prince. We've been watching this, though. I mean, that car's been sitting there for about an hour now, so not sure when he'll leave. He's in meeting with Trump behind closed doors without members of the media for about 2 hours now, but before then they were speaking with members of the media. They took some questions and some answers. And we did learn that he's going to up, this is the Saudi crown prince, his investments in the U.S. up to $1 trillion. So again, they've been kind of chatting for a while behind closed doors, but we'll keep our eye on this feed. We'll see if we can catch that departure and if we learn anything that they discussed while members of the media were not allowed in. So we'll keep our eye on that as well here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. All right, it's time for another quick break here. Coming up, we're going to hear from our very own Jason Calvi at some point in the next half an hour or so as he works on his story. He's busy news gathering right now, talking online sports betting. What can you do in Wisconsin versus what can you do in Illinois? Just crossing a simple border changes a lot. So we'll be joined with him in just a little bit. For now, though, we'll take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to to the Wisconsin Live Desk, you guys. It is Tuesday afternoon. I feel like the first hour and a half has flown by. We're already at 2:03 here on your Tuesday, meaning you and I just have about 30 minutes left hanging out. But the Wisconsin Live Desk, have no fear. It will continue all the way until 3:30, as we do every Monday through Friday. If you've never tuned in for the Wisconsin Live Desk, we bring you news live as it happens. Everything we do here is live. Nothing is pre-recorded. We primarily focus, you might guess it, Wisconsin. It's called the Wisconsin Live Desk. But sometimes we go across the country, even the globe, as national and international news happens in real time. Today we've been heavily focused out of D.C. Again, this is kind of that stakeout camera on the steps of Congress as we wait to see if we can hear from any lawmakers after the House just overwhelmingly passed the bipartisan bill that will release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Again, the files themselves not released yet. This still needs to go through the Senate and eventually be signed by President Trump. But we are keeping our eye right there on those steps to see if we can hear from any lawmakers. We're also keeping our eye, unfortunately, outside. Not that pretty of a day here in Milwaukee. It is pretty foggy, pretty rainy, and pretty chilly. Yeah, 39 degrees, and it's pretty much been there like all day. So I think this is as warm as we're really going to get. So if you're heading out the door, not only would I bundle up in a winter coat, but I would also probably grab an umbrella because it's just not a pretty one out there. But I am appreciative that we're at least in those upper 30s, because any colder and we would be seeing snow. We saw a lot of snow out of Oshkosh, out of Altoona, right by Eau Claire, where, of course, Delaney and I both spent some time before. So I feel like today Milwaukee got the better deal here with just some rain as opposed to snow. I do always say this, but days like today where we're really not just having the best weather reminds me how important it is that we all contribute what we can to the FOX6 Coats for Kids drive. If you're just tuning in, I already spoke pretty well in detail on this earlier in Wisconsin Live Desk, but just to catch you up to speed again, our 41st year of the FOX6 Coats for Kids drive is happening right now. So you can go and donate your brand new winter coats and your gently loved winter coats, as we like to call them, to Steinhoffels, to Landmark Credit Union, as well as Salvation Army churches and their distribution center, and we will get those in the hands of those who need them. We've talked to the Salvation Army, and the need is pretty big this year. They've already seen a lot of demand for these coats, already distributing more than 1,000 before our coat drive even began from what they had from the year before. So we know right now times are tough and people are struggling to even put food on the table, let alone get a coat for their children. That's where you can step in with these donations. And if you don't have a winter coat lying around that you can donate, you can scan that QR code right there on your screen. That's how you'll make a monetary donation. And $25 gets a brand new coat. So for every $25 that you can give, we're able to buy a coat through our partnership with Operation Warm. Actually, these are very nice coats. They retail for about $60. They're nice and warm. They're on trend. They're very cute. And I know the kids love getting to go to these distribution sites and kind of go shopping. They get to pick out the coat that they really like. So if you are able to give to that FOX6 Coats for Kids drive, we will be so grateful, because again, all of these coats, they stay right here in our community for the kids who need them. Kids grow fast, so even if they had a coat that worked for them last year, might not work for them this year. We actually have a really exciting kind of phone bank happening tomorrow as well. So if you tune in to Wake Up or to any of our afternoon, evening newscasts, you'll be able to give that way as well. But we appreciate your generosity already this year. We're just about $10,000 raised, but we've got a goal of $60,000. So we've still got a long way to go. Every dollar counts, every dollar helps. So we appreciate those donations. All right, it's just after 2 o'clock, which is usually the time on the Wisconsin Live Desk that he's already smiling, he already knows, we get to talk to one of my favorite people, the Jason Calvi, who today is joining us from the road. For starters, Jason, where are you at?
We are driving right now in Wisconsin, and this earpiece that I'm wearing's got this echo thing going on, so I'm gonna hear myself talking. Right now I can hear myself, and I'll count to 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like a 3-second delay, but that's okay, right? This is the Wisconsin Live Desk. Carl used to say, this is not a show, right?
This is not a show. This is an informational opportunity with the Jason Calvi, who's actually working on a story about online sports betting. Tell me what we can do in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So right now, sports betting online on those apps and on websites is not allowed in Wisconsin. You can bet on sports at casinos that are part of Indian tribes in Wisconsin. So think about Potawatomi and Milwaukee. You can go there and place a bet on sporting events at the casino in person, but you can't use those sporting apps. So right now we're in Wisconsin, and if you went on one of the sporting betting web apps, it won't allow you to place a bet because you're not in a state that allows it. Because right here in Wisconsin, right now, it is illegal to bet on one of these apps.
Okay, but that is not the case. Sorry, Jason, I know.
We got this 3-second delay.
He's trying so hard with the delay. I was going to say, I know that's not the case with our neighboring state, Illinois.
Right, so we are still in Wisconsin, and in about 3 seconds, well, actually, there's a red light here, but in just a few seconds, we are going to be over the border into our neighboring state, the land of Lincoln. So right now, again, that sport betting app not working here in Wisconsin. We've got a green light, so we're going to go ahead here, and once we get moving here, we'll see what happens. But again, Illinois allows you to place bets using these apps. So we are almost over the border. Again, it's not working here in Wisconsin. But as we get over the border, now we are officially in Illinois. If I reload, it still thinks I'm in Wisconsin. But here we are now in the land of Lincoln that allows mobile betting. And yep, there we are. We're in. We can place our bets on the Bucks, on the Brewers, on whatever you want to be. So Illinois allows this. Wisconsin doesn't. And what's going on right now is the Assembly is going to be voting tomorrow on a bill that would allow sports betting, mobile sports betting. How it's going to work is it says, and again, I'm listening to myself 3 seconds delayed in the earpiece, which is super annoying. But hey, we're professionals. We can handle this, right?
Jason, I think you're doing such a great job already on the Wisconsin Live Desk today. No one could even tell there's a 3-second delay or that you can hear yourself. Here's my question for you.
Yeah.
What are the pros for having online sports betting from, a lawmaker point of view, and what are the cons?
So I think that you're talking about a large amount of money going into sports betting. So if you look at the numbers, for example, in our neighboring state of Illinois, you'll see all of the money that's been going into sports gambling. Now, it has decreased a little bit. They've been doing a per bet tax in Illinois. So that's kind of, the stats are showing a decrease in online sports betting in Illinois. But we're talking about a ton of money. And so that's one issue. You have groups like the Potawatomi who are backing this bill that's in front of the Assembly tomorrow. You have groups that are against it. Like, for example, the Wisconsin Catholic Conference is one of those groups that came out against it, saying that this really hurts families, it hurts poorer people. And there's statistics out of Northwestern University here in Illinois that shows that it does take a chunk out of family income. So that's one concern from the opponents of this bill. But again, this bill kind of sailed through committee in the Assembly. It was a 10-0 vote in this Assembly committee. So tomorrow the full Assembly will get a crack at this on this online betting thing. What it does is it says that you can have those mobile bets in Wisconsin if, and here's the key word, if the server for those apps is based on Indian tribe land. So for example, Potawatomi Casino, they can have a server there that you can then use to access the app in Wisconsin and place your bet from the comfort of your living room or from the comfort of your couch.
Jason, what's the kind of big push for that? Is it to ensure that these tribes are able then to continue to make their revenue the way that they do from their casinos, even though it's now online sports betting?
Right, you're going to be seeing that you can have these things. It's so popular. They've been really growing in states, and for example, here in Illinois, where I am now, where we could place a bet, which I'm not going to do on this app. You can, it's bringing lots of money into the state, to the tribes, to the casinos, tax money into the state. So Wisconsin wants to see a little cut of that. They know how popular this has become, and so they're going forward with this proposal. It'll be really interesting to see how that debate plays out, because in committee, again, it sailed through on a 10-0 vote, but the assembly is 99 members, and we'll see how robust the debate is on this tomorrow in Madison.
Yeah, Jason, I'm curious, is there any data that out there that is showing how many Wisconsinites are doing what you're doing, getting in the car, driving across state lines just so that this app works and they can place the sports bet? Do we know how many Wisconsinites are doing this, how much money the state is losing out on?
I don't have those particular numbers. It's a great question. But one of the things we visited one of the slot locations here. So when you drive down the road here, this is, let me show you. We are now in Winthrop Harbor. Sure. We're in Zion, Illinois. So on the side of the road, you'll see these little slot machine places. And what's interesting there is we talked to some of the people in the slot machines, and one of the people at the slot machine location was very much opposed to allowing the online sport betting in Wisconsin because she thought it would hurt their business there. And so one of the other guys that said he was in favor of the bill, he talked about how in the past, when you could only have the slot machines in Illinois, they had slot machines, and so people from Wisconsin would come down and place their bets here in Illinois. So there is a worry from some of the businesses that they're going to lose out on some of the people coming from Wisconsin to place their sports bets on the apps right over the border here in Illinois.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of an interesting conversation. And of course, we'll keep our eyes peeled tomorrow to see what exactly happens with this betting bill. While I have you, Jason, how do you pronounce the name of the state that you're in right now?
Well, it's the land of Lincoln, as you noticed from the beginning of my story.
Yeah, is there a reason why you don't want to say the name of the state?
It's my home state. This is my home state, okay? So we're just going to leave it at that.
Okay. Jason.
And if Carrie Doctor, our senior producer, is watching this, he can describe the name of the state for you.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah, apparently Jason struggles to say Illinois.
And we really got to get this IFB fixed, because this listening to my voice 3 seconds later is very distracting.
I'm sure it is. Jason, we appreciate you joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll let you go so you don't have to keep hearing yourself.
No, we'll just leave it at that. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jason, for providing the latest on his story. I think that's the closest we're going to get to a Jason Calvi crash out, is what I maybe would call what we just witnessed on air. Delaney, love Jason Calvi. Apparently, he struggles to say Illinois. I don't know how he says it, but it's definitely Illinois. But yeah, the greatest reporter, Jason Calvi, joining us right there, dealing with some technical issues, but still giving us the facts as far as that betting bill goes. I will say, Delaney, I'm going to bring you in. That's your warning. I do find it so fascinating that the app truly doesn't work in Wisconsin, and within seconds of him crossing the border, it popped up that he could do it.
I know, that was interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I wonder what will happen. We'll have to keep our eye on this bill as it goes tomorrow. Why are you laughing at me, Delaney?
Our 4 p.m. producer just popped back here. That's why I was laughing.
Oh, about the Jason Calvi grass shot that we all witnessed?
Of course.
Yeah, that was honestly one of my favorite moments of the Wisconsin Live Desk. Those are the why you got to tune in. You know what? Reporters, we deal with a lot on air. Usually, we can't talk about it. But here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we can go, this earpiece is bothering me. And that's what Jason gave us today, as well as his report. Of course, make sure and stay tuned to Fox Local. You can catch his full story later on today. I just think it is so fascinating to see that app work and then not work. Just depending on the state line, we'll have to see what happens here in Wisconsin. All right, we'll take another quick break here on the Live Desk, and then we'll be back in 2 minutes with more news. Stay tuned.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey you guys, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Have just about 10 minutes with you left here. We're keeping our eyes on the feeds, but nothing new has really popped up to bring you. A couple of things I'll have Kim Murphy keep her eye on when she takes over in 10 minutes. Of course, this stakeout cam here on the steps of Congress as we see if we hear from any lawmakers after the House overwhelmingly voted to pass the bipartisan bill, which will release those Jeffrey Epstein files. Again, now it heads to Senate, but we're going to see if we can catch any lawmakers. Also keeping our eye here on this wing of the White House where we'll see if we can catch the departure of the Saudi crown prince. That was scheduled to happen at some point. This car has been sitting there for about an hour and a half, so we'll keep our eye on it, see if that happens here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and bring you the latest, which honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. There are quite a few of you at home right now watching us, because who wants to go outside in this mess? It is not a pretty one out there today. Roads are slick, so if you're heading out the door, pack your patience, take it slow. Also, pack your umbrella and your winter coat because it's 39 degrees, so it's a cold rain that is coming down. Just kind of, yeah, I don't know. This to me is Monday weather, but it's Tuesday, so maybe tomorrow we'll get a little bit more sunshine, because today there's just not that much really to look forward to. If you tuned in earlier, it is Mickey Mouse's birthday. They celebrate it today because Steamboat Willie came out November 18th, 1928, which was the first time that Mickey Mouse made his appearance on the screen, I guess, really. And so he turns 97 today. We were talking about kind of how many times we've been to Disney, a little bit of true or false with Mickey, and now we want to hear from you guys. We have a new question for you to answer here. So go ahead and head to fox6now.com/poll, or you can always scan that QR code right there on your screen. Who is your all-time favorite cartoon duo? Here are your options. Also, I'm worried Delaney's going to have a Chat GPT version of me as one of these duo, because she did that last time. You've got Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. You've got SpongeBob and Patrick. You've got Rick and Morty, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, Tom and Jerry, and Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. Delaney is chit-chatting, but she's going to get called in. How are you voting today, Delaney?
I think I'm voting Scooby-Doo and Shaggy.
Really? Tell me why you love Scooby-Doo and Shaggy.
I always watched Scooby-Doo growing up.
Can you do a Scooby-Doo impersonation?
I cannot.
I would pay money for Delaney to do that. Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to be honest. I have never seen Rick and Morty. And I was not allowed to watch SpongeBob SquarePants growing up, so I've never really watched an episode of SpongeBob. So obviously, I'm going to vote for mine right now in real time. It just uploaded. I voted for Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Clearly, Delaney.
Of course.
Yeah.
I would have guessed that for
right?
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're just tuning into the Wisconsin Live Desk, we have an extra special guest back there with Delaney today. Christina Van Zelst has been shadowing. Is she going to contribute to the poll? Does she have an answer? She's chatting. We just don't have a mic for her. Here we go.
She would go Scooby-Doo and Shaggy too.
Okay.
She likes the live action, but also like it's a little spooky.
Okay. Can you tell me like your favorite? Like, are there different movies? Are there different episodes? How does Scooby-Doo work?
There's different episodes,
okay.
And then they have movies too. They're all over the place.
Okay.
But it's all good. The movies are good.
Is it the mystery van? What's their car called?
Yeah, the mystery van.
Okay, wow. Look at me knowing something. I was pretty proud of that, actually. You guys are voting right now. We're getting some answers. We now have SpongeBob and Patrick on the board. Rick and Morty has now gone down to 20%. I think Tom and Jerry already had a vote, or did it just get a vote? Okay,
I think it just got a vote.
Somebody needs to show some love to Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. They're the only one up there without any votes, Delaney. They're good.
I know, they are a good duo.
Yeah. Space Jam? Come on, y'all didn't like them in that?
I forgot about Space Jam.
Space Jam. How can you forget about
It's a good
Space
movie.
Jam? Of course I remember Space Jam. The goat's in it. Michael Jordan, I think. I only watched Space Jam once, years and years and years ago. Okay, so yeah, this is exciting. Go, again, fox6now.com/poll to cast your vote, or you can always scan that QR code there on your screen. Delaney, did you grow up watching SpongeBob SquarePants? Whoever did that, thank you so much. You are my hero. Somebody just voted for Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. So now we're tied. Look at this. Oh, another vote for SpongeBob and Patrick. This is kind of fun. This is happening here in real time. I was going to chat to Delaney, but she got up out of her chair. She's abandoned me a little bit here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Oh, actually, this has been fun. We've been talking about your favorite all-time cartoon duo here the last couple of minutes. Oh, I think we might have just missed it, but I want to go back. We've been watching this here. This is that stakeout camera on the steps of Congress after, of course, those lawmakers of the House, those representatives already today voting overwhelmingly to pass the bill to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. So now we're watching this kind of stakeout camera to see if we can hear from any representatives. So I'm going to go ahead, turn the sound up, leave this one on because Kim Murphy just got here, and she's going to get you to 3:30 here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But let's listen in to representatives as they talk about the vote to pass that bipartisan bill to release the Epstein files, which will now make its way to the Senate for a vote.
Credit. It's time for the Epstein class to go, to be held accountable. It was an overwhelming vote, 427 to 1. This should pass the Senate quickly. Senator Thune now has said that the president's ready to sign it. There should be no amendments or shenanigans in the Senate. Send the bill to the president. And I really hope that the president will take this moment and invite the survivors at the bill signing, because he is the president of the United States. Him having the survivors there really will be a statement to the nation and the world that what happened was horrific and can never happen again.
Any comment on Hakeem Jeffrey's campaign soliciting money from Jeffrey Epstein himself back in 2013?
It's the first time hearing about it, obviously.
Homer said it on the floor.
Well, I don't know if it's true. I mean, you're just saying it, but obviously anyone who took money from him should return the money or didn't donate the money. I mean, I don't.
Did he step down as leader?
I have to look at what you're saying. It's the first time hearing about it, but he should certainly return the money or donate the money. And it's the first time, honestly, hearing about it.
Do you trust the administration in Department of Justice to
It stresses me out when I've ever walked up with him.
get nervous?
Hey, girls.
He's turned into like Kennedy of the house style. You know what I mean? I'm not wrong.
I think we got better steps.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Watch step.
To uphold that and go back and in that with the pen. I've been a coach from the start and to get to 218 so that we can have a vote on it.
And good afternoon. Sorry about that. You are listening to a lawmaker speak after the House approves a bill to release the Epstein files. You've got a little static there in that microphone, so we're going to bring it down. But this is a pivotal moment. This has been dogging the White House for actually months now, the release of these files. And so the House passed a bill forcing the Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein case files with limited redactions. Trump reversed his opposition and urged Republicans to back the release, saying that there was nothing to hide. Insiders say this was also something that the president just wants to get beyond. He himself said yesterday that he wants the focus to be on what Republicans have achieved in reopening the government instead of this constant talk about the Epstein files. Let's listen in a little bit more to see if that mic is a little bit better.
Of the failed policies that were put in place by Democrats. They created the Affordable Care Act, which has increased premiums by 114% since it took effect. I have supported extending the ACA enhanced tax credit for a year so that we can actually focus on addressing the longer-term issues with health care and why it is unaffordable for every American. Democrats are admitting that Obamacare has failed by virtue of the fact that you need to subsidize it to the tune of 88% of the premium. They are acknowledging that it's unaffordable. So to me, this is about how do we fix this long term. In the immediate, you have to extend the subsidy. Long term, we actually...
So you're listening to a Republican speak after the House just approved the bill to release the Epstein files. He speaking about what's next for Congress, and that is a vote on the Affordable Care Act, the subsidies being extended until the next year. So this is what we know. President Trump did reverse his opposition and urged Republicans to back the release, saying there is nothing to hide. We're talking about the Epstein files, but this doesn't mean that those files are immediately going to be released, because the bill now heads to the Senate, where its fates and the president's potential response right now are uncertain. We're going to take a break right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
And welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk for this Tuesday. It's kind of gloomers out there. This is a live look at our DOT cameras. It's frozen, but pretty much tells the story. We're looking at dreary conditions out there. Do take it easy. Rain can make the roadways a little slick, especially those overpasses and those on-ramps. So this is the situation for your afternoon if you are headed to pick up the kids, or any running around you have to do, or maybe if you're watching us on Fox Local and you're wondering what your evening commute may look like, that is an indicator. Right now we're going to take you to the House floor. Let's listen in.
Phone, and you got a lot of people on the phone. That person is suddenly guilty? That sounds like guilt by association. That sounds like collective guilt. Our minority whip introduced a perfectly reasonable amendment to say, let's refer this to an ethics committee. Let's have a real hearing. They didn't want to have a real hearing. They want to rush to judgment. Why? So there can be some headline that will please Donald Trump tomorrow instead of a unanimous statement, or forgive me, I think the distinguished gentleman from Louisiana may have dissented, but an otherwise unanimous verdict of the House of Representatives that the American people want all the files open. We've had enough of the cover-up. We want all of the truth. We want the survivors and the victims to have the possibility of accountability. Well, they want to give them another headline, which is that they've arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent, Jeffrey Epstein, in the middle of a hearing. And of course, I don't think there's any rule here against taking phone calls in a hearing. Now, if you want to actually give her the chance to explain what happened, then we would take it to the ethics committee. I still don't see what the charge is. Where is the ethical transgression? Where is the legal transgression? Are you saying anybody on your side of the aisle who had a phone call with Jeffrey Epstein should be censured? Be careful your answer there, because there's a lot more that's about to come out, right? So you should think about what is the principle behind this rush to judgment. I want to close just with this thought, because I know there were a lot of people in the chamber who were here when this happened, and a lot who weren't. There was a move to expel George Santos, who was a Republican member of the House from New York. And it was the same kind of rush to judgment, absolute political frenzy, and I looked at it for about 60 seconds. And, you know, I was a professor of constitutional law, so call me a legal nerd. But I said, wait, this guy's not been convicted of anything. Well, he's a Republican. Yeah, I know he's a Republican. He was not convicted in criminal court. To my knowledge, he had not been arraigned yet or convicted.
You are listening to and seeing Delaney. How did I do that? Delaney, hi.
Hey, Kim.
I'm just pressing buttons back here. I meant to have a double box with what was going on the House floor, but I think this is even better. How's your afternoon going?
It's been good. How's yours?
A little slow. I think when it's rainy like this, you kind of just want to, you know, stay inside, but duty calls, and so I'm here.
Oh, definitely.
This morning, I spent trying to master a new recipe. I made pumpkin ginger mini muffins.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
Did they turn out?
They did, but if you don't like pumpkin or ginger, because the ginger is very strong, so I didn't bring them in because I don't think everyone vibes with ginger, so I didn't do that today, but it is the baking season for me.
It is.
Yes, so.
What a good morning.
Yeah, so thanks for checking in unexpectedly. Let's take you to Here's Me. And we were just listening to what was going on the House floor, so let's bring you up to date as we take a live picture of what is going on the House floor, and I'm going to try to talk over that. The House did pass a bill to release the Epstein files, but what happens now is that the Senate must pass the bill for it to then go on to President Trump. The Republican leader, John Thune, says the Senate will try to pass the Epstein bill quickly and send it on to President Trump. So that is what is happening right now on the floor of the House. A lot of talk about these files. The president yesterday evening reversed course because hadn't really been for it, and even bumped heads with some Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene, criticizing the president heavily, which was really a reversal of, course for her, because she is one of the president's staunchest supporters, saying release the file. So the president finally said yesterday he was aboard Air Force One with reporters that he is now supporting the release of the files, and so that's why we saw the action that we did on the House floor. We'll continue to wait for some reaction from some of the House representatives on that vote and what was said and their thoughts on whether this will actually happen, because again, there are two more steps to this. The Senate has to pass it, and then the president has to pass that bill to make it so. So earlier we were taking a look at, this is what we call a stakeout on the steps, waiting for some of those Republican and Democrats to come out and speak about the vote that happened this morning. Again, the Republican Senate is said to want to pass this quickly so that it can be sent on to the president. That happened earlier today. There's been a lot of talk about redistricting. Let's see if I can do this. We're going to try to bring up a picture of the Capitol there. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, reacting to a ruling saying that it is a win for Texas and for every American who fights for free and fair elections. This is the measure. There was a measure. Texas wanted to redraw its GOP-backed maps, and that did not happen. The measure has now been shot down, and so Gavin Newsom, this has just sparked this redrawing of political maps. Republican states are pushing for that, Texas being most notable, and then in response you've got Democratic states that are then saying, okay, we're going to try to balance this. If these maps are redrawn in Texas, that would heavily favor Republicans, then we're going to redraw our maps in California, which then would heavily favor Democrats. And so there's been this political play that is happening, but Greg Abbott now is promising to appeal a ruling from 3 federal judges that prevents the states from using a new congressional map favoring the GOP. Abbott called the 2-1 decision that this new map representing improper racial gerrymandering absurd and clearly erroneous. This is what Abbott is saying. But again, Texas was the first state to heed President Trump's call to Republicans to redraw the maps in hopes of helping the GOP pick up additional seats in the 2026 midterm. So that is a little bit, that is what is going on politically. And again, we continue to watch some of the discussion that is happening on the House floor this afternoon. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk. We're going to take a break. And after this, we're going to check on some other things, including someone's birthday. It's not mine. It's not Delaney's. That's what we call a tease. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk for this third hour. Thanks for checking in and hanging out with us, and thanks for downloading the Fox Local app. So even if you're not at home watching on your smart TV, you can take us wherever you are and just check in to see what is happening this afternoon. And this is happening. Delaney, give me some insight. What is this?
This is the Admirals. Haley had an interview earlier with them.
The Admirals, their season, there's an opportunity. I saw Fox 6 is going to sponsor a night with the Admirals, so it is possible that you will see a Fox Sixer do some of the entertainments, the contests, and so on and so forth. So the Admirals are kicking off their season, have kicked off their season, and it's been pretty good so far. So just a little idea of what's going on, and then we are following what is happening on the House floor. Want to dip in just from time to time just to get a flavor of what is being discussed. The big news of the day, the Epstein files. Representatives have in the House passed the bill for it to now go into the Senate to release those files.
To talk to people in hearings about different things. But let me ask, if it's now the standard that just to be on a phone call with somebody establishes guilt by association, what about all the members of this body or of the U.S. Senate who were on the phone with January 6th insurrectionists and President Trump and his associates who were trying to block the certification of the election as people were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." A lot of phone calls, a lot of traffic going on. In fact, that's why our Republican colleagues dealt themselves $1 million cash payoff bonanza provision in the most recent Republican spending bill. They put that in there because their phone records had been subpoenaed lawfully by a grand jury. They were treated like every other American citizen because their names came up as potentially being involved in that conspiracy to somehow shut down proceedings in the House and the Senate. Now, are we saying just because they were on a phone call, they're guilty of something, we should strip them of their committee assignments? We should censure them? Have we gotten to that point? I mean, come on. This is the House of Representatives of the United States of America. Let's stick by the Constitution. Let's stick by due process. Let's go through the rules. I yield 5 minutes to my distinguished colleague from Connecticut, Representative Hunt.
The gentleman from Connecticut is recognized. Thank you, gentleman from Maryland. I'm not going to speak today about...
And we're going to check on what is happening in Washington, some other committees that are happening. But interesting, there is a new AP study that came out yesterday, and that would be Monday, saying that one issue is uniting Americans in this time of divide. According to this new poll, pessimism about the country's future has risen in cities since last year. But rural America is more optimistic about what's ahead for the U.S. This survey, done by the American Communities Project, and despite President Trump's insistence that crime is out of control in big cities, residents of the nation's biggest cities are less likely to list crime and gun violence among their chief concerns facing their communities than they were a couple years ago. So giving you a little bit of kind of balance of what we hear in the politics of the arena and what actually the facts are on the ground. So optimism about the future is also down, though, from last year in areas with large Hispanic communities. There are some in this poll offering some different insights, local concerns. This was broken down by race, income, age, and religious affiliation. The survey evaluated moods and priorities across 15 community types, such as heavily Hispanic, big cities, and different rural areas. So, rising optimism in rural areas despite economic anxiety and crime not on the minds in this poll, not placing high of concerns for those who live in big cities. The economy has always been one of those issues that really focuses people, and that is what they want, some relief from these high prices that continue as we enter into the holiday season. A lot of folks are feeling the hurt. So, what else can we tell you about what is going on this afternoon? Speaking of ways that we can focus on the positive, we are in our Coats for Kids collection, happening now through December 7th. You can scan that QR code right there and make a donation. Maybe your kids, you don't have kids in your home anymore. And so your days of, your kids outgrowing coats, your kids are adults now and they have kids, but there still is a way for you to help out the community. You can scan that QR code, even $5. You think that's not a lot, that's not enough to buy a coat. Well, your $5 combined with someone else's, so on and so forth, it does allow the Salvation Army to buy coats, and they are in such need of all sizes. We think of the littles when we buy those coats. Definitely, they need those coats, but we have a lot of middle schoolers and high schoolers that are also taking the bus, walking to school, and they are in adult sizes. So adult coats are also needed. And today, the weather is just kind of a reminder of we're just getting started. We've got all the way through February to get through. So if you're able to donate some monetary donation there, that's a great way to do it. It's secure. You scan that QR code. Or if you do have coats that your kids have outgrown, you can donate them. They'll be dry cleaned and distributed to those kids who are in need. And we've done the distribution so many years, and those kids' faces just light up when they get a new coat. And the fact that someone cared enough to donate a coat means so much to them. You can donate a coat at Steinhoffel's, at any Landmark Credit Union, at AbsorbTech, or the Salvation Army through December 7th. So do keep that in mind as you are, maybe going through some of your things and getting ready for winter. We have the privilege of, deciding what we're going to keep, what we're not going to keep, what we're going to donate, because we do, we're better off than some people in our community. And so this is a season to think about those who really, really, really could use our help. So something else that we are talking about, it is Mickey Mouse. It's his birthday. True or false? The first Mickey Mouse film in Technicolor was released in 1935. I don't know about that, Delaney. I'm going to pop you up here. I think. There you are. Okay. Do you know the answer to this?
I do.
1935. I don't know if there were color films in 1930. I'm going to say false.
This one is true.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It was The Bad Concert.
Okay. I didn't know Mickey went back that far. I know that he was in black and white, and he started as Steamboat Willie and that kind of stuff, but didn't know he actually came to life in color in 1935. So you're going to walk me through this. We actually have a poll.
Yeah, we have a poll. If you hit megaphone, it should pop it up.
There we are. So who are your all-time favorite cartoon pair, duo? Bugs and Daffy, SpongeBob and Patrick, Rick and Morty, Mickey and Minnie, Tom and Jerry, Scooby and Shaggy all day. I cannot believe they only have 5%.
That's my thought. That's my favorite duo.
I thought, because they are actually friends, they're bros. I thought that Bugs and Daffy kind of had like this, it wasn't a good relationship. I thought it was kind of toxic.
Yeah, they like have a little bit of beef.
Tom and Jerry, beef.
Oh yeah.
Minnie tried to shine. Mickey always trying to dim her shine. SpongeBob just looks weird to me, and Rick and Morty, I think you have to be a boy to like I have never watched that cartoon. Have you?
No, I've never seen it.
It just seems like boy burping and farting humor.
Right?
I said fart. Okay, I think that's a good place. It's the Wisconsin Live Desk, so we can say things that we don't say on air. We're going to take a break after this, and we'll be right back.
Wisconsin Live Desk.
We are approaching, or we are, 3 o'clock. We have just half an hour left together. Let's take a live look outside. It is just that kind of day. Started this morning with some heavy rain, and it's just kind of hanging around, so we're not going to see any sunshine today. 38 degrees, you know, it's your typical November day. So let's try to cheer each other up. And maybe that's why Total Wine just sent me a push alert saying the lowest prices of the season. Did I just get that? I don't know. So what's going on with you on this Tuesday afternoon? Not much is happening in the nation's capital. The big talk has been the House approving the Jeffrey Epstein, the release of those files. The bill passed 427-1 with only one no vote, and that was coming from Representative Clay Higgins, who is a Republican from Louisiana and a supporter of President Trump. He also chairs a subcommittee that initiated a subpoena on the Justice Department for the Epstein files. So what happens next? And why should you care? The bill would force the Justice Department to release all the files and communications related to Epstein, as well as any information about the investigation into his death in federal prison. You know, there's just so many conspiracy theories surrounding Epstein's death and whether or not it actually was a suicide or was he silenced. So even if these files are released, don't know if it'll do much to quiet the conspiracy, which has had years to grow and has become wider in what people think those files contain, the names, just so much craziness has been social media. And so do vet that and don't take it. It is social media. And so there's not a lot of fact. The only fact that we know is that these files have been locked up, and we really don't know the names and the truths that are contained in these files. And interesting, I was reading even Paris Hilton. It's from time to time you have celebrities and notables responding to whether they're in the Epstein files or whether they knew Epstein, and pictures are surfacing from the 80s and the 90s of maybe it was just an encounter, maybe it was just a party that they were both attending. Paris Hilton is breaking her silence because her name has come up, that allegedly there was an encounter where she was at some designer release party or something. Ghislaine Maxwell was there with Jeffrey Epstein and remarked to this journalist, "Who is that?" And he said, "Oh, that's Paris Hilton." And allegedly, Maxwell said, "Oh, she would be perfect for Jeffrey. Please introduce me." So Paris is saying, I don't remember this. There's a picture, I think, that has surfaced of her when she was, in her teens, and Maxwell and Epstein are also, I believe, in that picture. But how many parties does Paris Hilton go to that she would remember every single famous person that she had contact with? Why would she? So it's interesting how this Epstein case has had just so many tentacles, and people, celebrities are sometimes having to respond to rumors that maybe they knew Epstein, that they had a friendship, that they had a relationship, to politicians. So we'll see. Ooh, it looks like it's getting fiery on the House floor. So I'm going to take you there, and let's listen to what is going on.
Moral high ground. Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly: Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous. You decide that you want to punish a sitting member of Congress because you are concerned about her text messages. Well, maybe you should be more concerned about those sex tapes that we still haven't gotten access to. Maybe you should be more concerned with the fact that the president, his name is mentioned in the files way more than Stacey Plaskett's name. Listen, I'm not saying that anything is right or wrong, but listen, if you're trying to figure out what's going on with somebody that's a criminal, then you maybe need to talk to their associates. That's exactly why maybe she was getting text messages. I'm not saying she was or wasn't. But considering the fact that they were talking to another associate of the president's and maybe she needed intel, you'd have to go talk to somebody that maybe knows what he's up to.
Time has expired. We reserve. Gentleman from Maryland reserves. Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I recognize my good friend from Arizona, Mr. Biggs.
How much time is the gentleman recognized? How much time you've allotted the gentleman from Arizona?
How much time do we have left?
You were listening to some spicy testimony from Jasmine Crockett. So here's what's going on. Jeffrey Epstein apparently was texting with a Democrat before he questioned President Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, during the 2019 hearing. Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands, who was a non-voting delegate, appeared to be messaging with Epstein in February of 2019 while the hearing into President Trump, or candidate Trump, was ongoing, and asked Epstein for guidance in one of those messages. This is according to the Washington Post. Her office confirmed to the paper that she had received texts from Jeffrey Epstein. The messages were included in the 20,000 documents released by the House Oversight Committee this week, though her name was redacted in the documents that were released. So there is...
Here's at least one of the exchanges that seems to...
Republicans
seems to have taken place.
Want to censure
maybe
her.
We'll hear some comment about it.
So let's listen.
You can make some comment about it, but in this exchange, Mr. Epstein sent a text message to the gentlelady from the Virgin Islands, and this is the quote. He brings up Rona, keeper of the secrets, and who's he referring to? Rona Graff. That's a Trump assistant. And Plaskett responds, Rona, question mark? Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? So she wants to know what Mr. Epstein wants her to talk about. Don't you find that interesting? I find that really intriguing, especially since we know what Mr. Epstein was. And Epstein responds, that's his assistant. Doesn't really say much more than that. And then Plaskett starts questioning Mr. Cohen and asks about Graff. So not only was she texting, having this communication with Mr. Epstein, she's asking...
So the she that we're hearing about is the Democratic Virgin Islands delegate Stacey Plaskett. Members of the House Freedom Caucus are pushing a resolution to formally censure her, to remove her from the House Intelligence Committee over recently released documents that show she consulted with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 hearing with former Trump fixer Michael Cohen. Let's listen.
Verified error, and I guess I'm part of the sewage. That Mr. Himes said. Yeah. Thanks for agreeing with me, Ms. Plaskett. So she's got us down. Unless you're in the Intelligence Committee, you're crap. That's what the Intel Committee says. But here's the deal. When you're sitting there in a sitting committee and you're having communications with a convicted sex offender, and you're taking their advice on how to ask questions, maybe you got a problem. Maybe your problem is that you've brought disrepute on the
so
House.
this is what we are talking about, Delaney. Sorry about that. What I meant to do is, let's go back here.
Last week from the Oversight Committee that they received from the
There you are. Okay, so what we're listening to is the Freedom Caucus in the House is pushing to censure the delegate from the Virgin Islands. So what happened in 2019, this was reported by the Washington Post, that the delegate, Stacey Plaskett, texted Jeffrey Cohn, this was in February of 2019, after a major Miami Herald investigation into Epstein's sex crimes in 2018. The Washington Post reported that during the hearing, Epstein suggested questions to Plaskett to ask Cohn, who was testifying about Trump's former executive assistant. Plaskett did so, and then Epstein texted her, "Good work." So Plaskett texted Jeffrey Epstein in 2019 to ask for information on what to ask President Trump's fixer during a hearing, trying to uncover that relationship between Mike Cohn and President Trump and that whole thing in 2019. So let's listen in just a little bit more.
I want to remark that yet one more member says we should go ahead and censure her, and then we should do a complete investigation. I think any fifth grader in America knows that's the exact opposite of what due process means in America. We don't punish people before we have investigation and the opportunity to be heard. I yield 6 minutes now to the distinguished gentlelady from Virgin Islands, Representative Plaskett.
Thank you so much to Mr. Raskin, to my former professor in law school, and I want to address the body. I first want to give you all a sense of what was happening that day. Everyone knows at that hearing in February, the entire country was watching. As Michael Cohen decided he was going to finally give up information about what was happening in the Trump world, the Trump enterprise. And at the beginning of that hearing, the ranking member, Jim Jordan, had the disrespect to Elijah Cummings, may he rest in peace and his name be a memory, after not allowing Mr. Jordan to shut the committee hearing down. And I turned to Mr. Jordan and told him to have respect for the chair and to basically shut up. And that moment went viral. And I began to get innumerable texts from friends, from foes, from constituents about what was happening in that hearing. And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was not public knowledge at that time that he was under federal investigation, and who was sharing information with me. Now, I heard recently from someone that I was seeking advice from him. Let me tell you something. I don't need to get advice on how to question anybody from any individual. I have been a lawyer for 30 years. I have been a narcotics prosecutor in New York City. I have had the honor of being a political appointee at the Justice Department after September 11th as a Republican appointee in the Bush administration. I know how to question individuals. I know how to seek information. I have sought information from confidential informants, from murderers, from other individuals, because I want the truth, not because I need them to tell me what to say. And if you look at the transcript, you will see that I questioned Michael Cohen for 5 minutes. The Washington Post only shows you 30 seconds and takes from it one individual's name that I got from Jeffrey Epstein and didn't know who the individual was, and put that individual with a host of other individuals that I felt the committee should subpoena. They've never been subpoenaed. They've never been questioned.
You're listening to Representative Stacey Plaskett. respond to the effort right now to censure her for what she has admitted. She was in contact with Jeffrey Epstein in 2019. She messaged the late financier while there was a hearing into President Trump, who was ongoing, and asked Epstein for guidance in one of those messages. The Washington Post reports her office confirmed to the paper that she had received text. She says that Epstein sought her out, that he was a constituent, and that she did not need help in formulating her questions of Michael Cohen, but does appear to confirm that she was in contact with Jeffrey Epstein, who did suggest questions for Michael Cohen.
Done. And that's what I did. They've taken a text exchange which shows no participation, no assistance, no involvement in any illegal activity, and weaponized it for political theater. Because that's what this is. This has been reviewed by federal courts. Any charges, victims who initially had a case against me dismissed it on their own without prejudice. You don't want to talk about what is really happening here. Your attacks on working families, your protection of powerful predators and corporate criminals. You want to talk about texting felons? How often do you text President Donald J. Trump? That's the individual we should be concerned about. And let me tell you this. I am not going to support the wealthy and connected who continue to exploit workers and evade taxes, powerful figures with credible allegations who face no consequences, and corporate interests profiting from human suffering while families struggle. And let me tell the people of the Virgin Islands.
Gentleman will state his point of order.
The point of order is you may not call the President of the United States a felon. That is a violation.
Point of order is under consideration, and we're not going to lose order here either, so please.
May I continue? May I continue, Mr.
Members
Speaker?
are, however, reminded to refrain, as mentioned a little while ago, from making personality commentary towards the President. The point of order is not timely, so the gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What is happening here? I feel sorry for my colleagues. I feel sorry for this body. I see members coming and speaking against me who I've never even had a conversation with. You don't know me. You don't know the work that I've done. You don't know the support that I've given to families, to individuals, to support people. I worked a full-time job with children under the age of 5, going to school, law school at night. Do you think I would risk my law degree for any individual? Never mind a reprehensible individual by Jeffrey Epstein, I would not. But what I'm about is the truth. And let me tell the people of the Virgin Islands, this attempt at intimidation will pass. We in the Virgin Islands do not back down from a fight. That is how we won our freedom, and that is how we will continue to grow our equality. And if you censure me, take away a committee, I will still do the work because I am here to support people and to support this great Constitution, which I have sworn numerous times to uphold.
We reserve, and I thank the
lady. The gentleman reserves. Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, before I recognize Mr. Clyde, let me just say, Ms. Plasky, I don't know you. My overall impression of you has been good. But, and you give these words about protecting families and children. Where was that demonstrated when you took money from a convicted pedophile that had served time? Where was that? The words are beyond believability. And I think you're a nice person, but you missed the boat when you took money. I've got the mic now. You lost your I don't know the word to describe it, but what you did, you deserve to come off the committees. And let me remind you, we want this to go to the Ethics Commission. And to those listening, the Ethics Commission is 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans. Let them find it. But in the meantime, you do not deserve to serve on a committee with national clearance. And I would like now...
Will be reminded again to direct their commentary to the chair.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to recognize my good friend from Georgia, Mr. Andrew Clyde.
How much time is the gentleman shall I recognize him?
How much time is left?
You have 11 and a half minutes remaining.
5 minutes.
Gentleman's recognized for 5 minutes.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. My good friend, Mr. Norman from South Carolina. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of this resolution censuring and condemning Delegate Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands for inappropriate coordination with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein during a congressional hearing, and removing Delegate Plaskett from the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and referring her to the Ethics Committee for further investigation. After 4 years of silence on this matter, not a peep during the entire Biden administration, let me repeat that, after 4 years of silence on this matter about Jeffrey Epstein, House Democrats are now demanding transparency and accountability surrounding Jeffrey Epstein and his associates. While their fake outrage is clearly just another disgusting attempt to smear President Trump, House Republicans are taking this matter seriously and are working toward delivering the much-needed transparency and accountability that the American people deserve. This resolution is accountability, page 1. During the House Oversight Committee's ongoing investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, emails obtained by a congressional subpoena, that's right, it was the congressional subpoena by the House Oversight Committee, not the discharge petition that just got voted on, but this was the Oversight Committee's congressional subpoena, has brought to light.
And we're going to hang with that. We're going to monitor that here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But I want to take you to what is happening locally. The Bucks are volunteering. They're working with the Hunger Task Force. All staff volunteer day. There's bingo. This is happening with, again, the Hunger Task Force. And they're helping collect food for emergency distribution, stock boxes for local seniors, and special seasonal meal kits for families in the community will be distributed. The event spans across the Hunger Task Force's 120,000 square foot food bank, and tens of thousands of pounds of food will be ready for distribution throughout southeastern Wisconsin. So you see members of the Bucks coaching staff, the players, they are there. This is happening from 3 to 4, so they're almost midway through this. This is happening at the Hunger Task Force. Again, this is Volunteer Day. Pretty awesome. They've got an assembly line that is going on there. 120,000 square feet of the food bank. All of that is going to be filled with food and collection boxes, so they're sorting there. And this is something that the Bucks do, and it's really kind of awesome to see not just front office folks there, but we'll see some players there as well. Let's see if we can kind of hear what is going on. Don't know that we can. So food insecurity has been really a big discussion across the country with the government shutdown and the pause in food benefits, and even now there's still some uncertainty of what's going to happen in December. And so these food banks and efforts like this, they are still very much needed. The pressure has even been intensified because this time of year already is a tough time for families, and there are more families that are facing these strains on the budget. I mean, we've got fuel prices that are up, we've got food prices that are up, and there's just not enough to make the ends meet. So what is happening here is that the Bucks are volunteering with the Hunger Task Force for a day to give back to the Milwaukee community. We're going to take just a little break, and we'll be right back after this.
Wisconsin Live Desk.
Thanks for stopping in on this gloomy day. Let's tell you what is happening around the country. Something significant when we talk about voting, which it seems like we are always talking about voting. A federal judge has a court blocked Texas the effort of using new maps for the House. Touched off a nationwide battle of redrawing political maps. This is a major piece of President Trump's efforts to preserve a very slim Republican majority ahead of the 2026 elections. The ruling is a blow to President Trump's rush to create a more favorable political landscape for Republicans. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is vowing that the state will appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court and defended the map that was engineered to give Republicans 5 additional seats. But again, this was a 2-to-1 ruling by a panel of federal judges in El Paso, sided with opponents who say that this is an unusual redrawing of maps, which was initiated this summer to harm Black, the court says, Black and Hispanic residents. The decision was authored by a district judge who was nominated to the bench by Donald Trump during his first term. So that is one of the things that we are keeping an eye on here. Thanks for joining us. We are also keeping an eye on the fiery discussion that is happening on the House floor to censure the representative from the Virgin Islands who was in contact. Jeffrey Epstein in 2019 reached out to her in the hearing. There was an investigation into Donald Trump and his fixer, Michael Cohen. And Epstein suggested questions or a line of questions to this representative, which has now come to light through the reporting of the Washington Post. And now Republicans say she should be censured for that contact with Epstein.
And transparency and principle and ethics from this group of extreme House Republicans who continue to visit a national nightmare on the American people, bending the knee to a wannabe king, doing real harm in real time, and at the end of the day, your time is coming as well. I yield back.
Chairman yields.
Hey, how much time do we have, Mr. Speaker?
Gentleman has 4.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. All members are again reminded, including Minority Leader, to direct your comments to the chair. All members are again instructed, including Minority Leader, to refrain from engaging.
We appreciate your time on the Wisconsin Live Desk on this Tuesday, and have a great day on this gloomy day. Wisconsin Live Desk is with you every afternoon. Have a great one.
Happy Sunday night and welcome to the Fox 6 Sports Blitz.